If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I? Hello, Sharky.
Hey, Cass.
Welcome, one and all. Welcome, dear viewers, to the end of the rainbow. This is the 9th and final episode of the LJN Connection, our series taking a look at every single LJN-published video game. This is the final one of those. This series has been going on for 4 months on a somewhat bi-weekly schedule. Hot damn. This is a monumentous occasion, if I do say so myself. I think we are in for an interesting show tonight, packed to the brim with not just games, but with history, with notes, with insights galore, and of course, one of the oddest games in the LJN oeuvre, that's right at the tail end of it. How do you feel? How excited are you tonight?
I was worried that I was going to be able to make this show because of the hurricane that just happened, but I'm really glad that it's, I didn't lose power for a lot of reasons because I like having food, but also, yeah, I've been looking forward to this. This is a big show as far as I'm concerned. Like, we're reaching out another big series. Yeah, it's been a long time in the making. Like you said, 4 months. I was like, wow, it's actually has been that long, hasn't it?
Yeah, that'll happen when you run a show that is bi-weekly. Know? But once we're done with this, once we wrap this up, that's the end of the show. We're finished. We've said everything. We've done everything we set out to accomplish. Now we'll have to think long and hard about what our next long form series will be. But for tonight, we're gonna put those thoughts out of our mind and to celebrate, focus on celebrating LJN, the laughing, joking numbnuts themselves, and everything they stood for, and capping off this history that began, their video game history beginning in 1987, if I recall correctly, and in concluding their business in 1996, and then just one weird blip on the radar that we'll have to try and explain away in some capacity when the time comes. But
I think there's one other thing that we might be celebrating tonight.
Oh, yes.
In addition to LJN. I believe that would be Charky's Stream Snack.
Thank you, my snacking friend. Please take it away for the last time on the LJN Connection.
Okay, yes. All right, there we go. A new rule over in Bad Game Hall of Fame offices. I'm not allowed to eat during streams anymore.
Nope, this is the end of it.
All right. Tonight's stream snack is Super Pretzel Soft Sticks. These are pretzel bites, long pretzel bites. I think they're supposed to be stuffed with cheese.
I don't go for the stuffed pretzels. I love a pretzel, but, if I'm going to dip it, I'll dip it, but don't put stuff in the middle of it. Don't compromise the structural integrity of the super pretzel.
Now, I'll be honest, for something that I had cooking in the oven for a while, it's pretty cold.
Ooh.
But edible, not frozen.
You ever go to the mall, you ever get those Auntie Anne's pretzels?
We don't have that around here, I don't think.
You don't have those in your malls. I mean,
or maybe we do. There might be an Auntie Anne's around here, but it's like across the river and like too far away for me to get to.
You know what I like to get with the Auntie Anne's? The blue raspberry lemonade. That shit slaps.
Nope, I don't have any of that tonight. What I do have tonight, man, this is taking a while to eat. I just took a bite. That was it, one bite.
Everyone knows the rules.
What's the rules?
Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
All right. Anyway, I do have another one of those Alani's Witch's Brew, the caramel apple energy drink. That's really good, but right now it's down the refrigerator because I have a second drink for tonight that I want to kick off with. This is special. This is a new release. This is Coca-Cola Zero Oreo.
Fucking barf.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. Now, I did not get the other side of this, which is the Oreo Coca-Cola, which is Oreo cookies with the Coke syrup in them
Have we gone too far? Have we kind of like reached the upper ceiling of what like science should set out to accomplish?
Well, I mean, we'll find out. Let's try this Coca-Cola Zero Orange. Not orange, Oreo.
Yeah, different skew.
Yeah, wait. Okay. So, I was talking to a friend of the show, Devious Vacuum, earlier, and she was trying one of these today for the first time, and I gotta agree with what she told me this tasted like, which is up front, it's just Coke Zero. It is just Coke Zero. But like after some time passes, honestly, after way too much time passes, all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, that's Oreo flavor in there. It's like it's weird. It's like you drink a Coke Zero and then like again, significantly later you think like, did I eat an Oreo and forget about it earlier?
The back end, as they say.
Yeah, the back end, yeah, but like too long. Like that back end takes like a long time to really kick in. But yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, I can imagine. I thought it was fine when it was just vanilla Coke in Vanilla Coke Zero.
Vanilla Coke's great.
This seems like a bridge too far.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like drinking Coke and then suddenly regaining your memory, like you had amnesia and you just realized, oh my god, I had Oreos earlier.
You know what they say? Oreos, Coke's favorite cookie.
Yeah, you ever dip your Oreos in Coke?
Fuck no.
Yeah, me neither. Anyway, that's the stream snack.
Thank you for the stream snack. I'm sipping on, in case people wonder what that can opening sound they heard earlier was. That's me just cracking into an iced tea tonight. A nice iced tea tonight. Again, monumentous occasion tonight. Let's cut to the main stage. Oh, nope, that music shouldn't play yet. Sorry, I had some of my cues prepared. You didn't hear any music there, folks. And if you did, you didn't. We're going to start tonight. We're going to go back and forth between the games and the history and the... It's a bit of a hybrid format tonight, so we're just going to start right away with some of the games and bust into the history, as it is called for, in this little timeline, this chronological series of events. So with that in mind, tonight's first game, the first of the last games tonight, is Spider-Man for the Super Nintendo, released February 1995, developed by one Western Technologies. Got that Marvel Software logo in the bottom left corner there. Let's take a look at the advertisement flyer. 20-1-4. The odds are against you. I think
1 to the 4th?
1 to the 4th power. I think it's because the Fantastic Four are on your side in this game, but that's just some...
So 1 to the 4th is 1.
Yeah. Maybe, like, it's you know, the Fantastic Four, they're not really playable characters. Like, they're summon characters. So, technically, it's still the 1. Technically, Spider-Man is just Spider-Man. He works alone. You control him, but to the 4th power, and that helps him get through it. That's like the confidence booster in the back of his head that gets him through the fight. I don't know what I'm saying here. The odds are against us, though. That much is clearly established here. This is the final Spider-Man game we'll be taking a look at. There has been a Spider-Man game in basically every episode of this series that we have done, barring, I think, like the first episode.
Yeah, the first episode didn't have it.
But this one does. So it's a fitting note. Spider-Man is sort of mascot for LJN, in my mind, having done this series. Bob Ainer brings up a fun fact that I was actually going to bring up. This game has a song voted for by Twitter that is voted to be the worst video game track ever. And yeah, the Genesis version does. I don't think this version. We will see.
Oh, wait. I had the Genesis version of this then.
Ooh.
I think I had the Genesis game that this was. Wait, that was a weirdly constructed sentence, but I stand by it.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. I'm scratching what you're sniffing.
Because I definitely had a Genesis game just called Spider-Man, where you had to like stop a Kingpin under a time limit? Is that what this game is?
We'll see. I'm sure you're hearing this, though, right now.
I am hearing this.
I'm gonna adjust the volume a little bit on that. Cinematic intro.
And all of New York exploded. The end.
Spider-Man really slacking on the job. I thought Ravencroft would be strong enough to hold the likes of Smythe, Doc Ock, and Green Goblin. Guess I was wrong. I better get to work kicking some villain butt before they wreck my set. It's a little too late for that. There was explosions going off everywhere.
Okay, not the same as the Genesis game I had.
Oh, that was a smooth zoom. That was a smooth animation there. All right, let's check out level. Let's see these levels we can play. We can play average, the average Spider-Man, the amazing Spider-Man, or the spectacular Spider-Man. I'm just amazing. I'm not spectacular. I'm not that confident in myself.
How do you gauge which is better? I mean, which is more difficult? Amazing or spectacular? Like, what in your mind reads as hard?
Well, you know, S tier, S rank is the hardest rank to get in rhythm games, so... And that's clearly what they were thinking about back in, let me check the year again, 1995. So... I don't know if you noticed or not, but Spider-Man has radioactive spider blood. And you see that culminate in that one Spider-Man story where it turns out he accidentally killed Mary Jane because of his radioactive... We'll just say he shoots out a different kind of web. And somehow some writer thought that would make for a compelling plot point. If you're picking up when I'm laying down here.
No, boy. Please explain much more Anyway.
This is a chunky Spider-Man sprite. Alright, attack. Web. Go, web, go. Is there a sprint?
Hey,
is this as fast as he moves?
You know how when you have something poisonous and your body has like this reaction that's like, no, stop putting that in. Stop putting that in your body. That's what I'm getting with those pretzels. Not the Coke. Coke's fine.
Odd. Alright, so I can't climb this. Can I stick to walls? That seems like it'd be an important ability in a Spider-Man game. Okay, I figured that out.
It looks like he's having fun.
Oh, it cost me 3 web to do that every time, so maybe I shouldn't just do that for fun's sake. You know, with great web power comes great responsibility, or something like that. I think that's what they say in Spider-Man.
I know I've said it on this show before, but man, having the web be like just a thing that he has to manufacture and like stock up on in limited quantities, not just in the games, but like in the comics. I think that's just such a dumb thing. Like, yeah. I think like the biological webbing stuff is better in like every aspect.
I don't think you'd find people like hard pressed to disagree with you on that. Have we reached...
I can do everything that a spider can, except for shoot web, because I gotta go make my own webbing material and then make sure it's in stock. And
yeah, I think most people prefer the organic webs. I'm honestly surprised that the Tom Holland spider guy, they didn't elect for that in his continuity. A little tricky. I had to jump into the background there to go back down here. I'm assuming I need to go back down here. I'm sorry, you go on. I'm just trying to figure out where the hell I'm supposed to go. Also, look at this foreground element.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, you're Deadpool now. You're breaking the fourth wall.
Go to hell. Okay, there we go.
Oh, God. K4 Boom asks, what was the stream snack? And Slime Tender says, no spoiling stream snack for fake fans who didn't watch live. I don't want to gatekeep the stream snack. That's not the point of the stream snack segment. The stream snack was Super Pretzels snack sticks, which I'm not going to eat any more of because it tastes like I shouldn't be putting that in my body. And Coca-Cola Zero Oreo flavor, which, against all odds, does not have the same reaction.
Someone should take care of these Bunsen burners. If these are what they're letting our kids use in schools...
Oh, and the laser guns? Yeah.
Serious safety concerns. Ow.
See, that just wasn't fair.
Did I pick up a grenade? Oh, there is a sprint button if you hold down L.
Ah.
I'm glad I figured that out.
What's weird is when I play, like, Super Nintendo games, I'll forget L and R are buttons. Like, way too often.
It's bad controller.
Well, I think I'm just not used to games of that having been a Genesis kid, I'm not used to games of that generation having, like, shoulder buttons.
Oh, dear God, I died. Where's it going to spawn me? Beginning level? No, thank God.
Oh.
Oh, my... Good
Jesus.
Lord. That was tougher than it looked. Just a regular-ass
Well,
enemy.
now
Oh, God damn it.
Well, now the odds are 19 to 1.
Fuck that, I'm rewinding. Oh, you know what? I realized I never turned the stop using rewind and be kind rewind buttons back
Oh, what
on.
a shame. What a shame.
Okay.
Anyway.
This sucks. The web swinging, the timing on it is really awkward. You have to hit the jump button at, like, you know, basically like the apex at the furthest possible distance out. Which, you know, makes sense intuitively, but for some reason, like, the timing feels like a step off. In a way that I'm not keen on. Also, why does he have pink eye? On his costume. You notice that's not white? Here, let me...
I can see it. I can see it. I can compare it to the light above. But that's just, like, the rage that he has against all of these
villains of his.
Villains,
his
yeah.
gallery.
Blowing up the city. He's seeing red. Well, now he's seeing blue.
Oh, just spawn me. Yeah, keep me in there. Don't, like, spawn me up top there so I can get back to where I was or anything. God forbid.
Wait, actually, it darkens if you look up. Well, I thought it did.
I think there's spider sense. I think you can look to the eyes to see if there's, like, danger, like, slightly off screen.
Oh, yep. Okay, there it is. That's what I was seeing.
Took care of that.
Oh, okay, so that means the reason his eyes aren't white right now is because he has a constant sense of unease. He just has anxiety right now.
Did I just lose a life?
Yeah, you lost a life.
Holy shit, this game is cruel.
Is that 20 to 1 odds? Okay. I want that to open up underneath you right now, and then you lose another life.
Trap door.
There's one right there too.
What a malicious little game. Oh. Oh.
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I think. Can you guess what's on the other side?
I thought I would have to, like, go up through the ceiling to avoid getting crushed to death here, but it just looks like...
Ooh, ah. Well, I mean, you are about to get crushed. I think. No? Okay.
No. Solve that problem.
Nothing that you should be aware of is on screen at any given time.
No, everything is slightly off screen, as inconvenient as possible. I don't think this game's very good.
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't sound like it either. Boy, more lab level. Awesome. Honestly, to me, like, labs are as bad as sewer levels in video games. If I see a lab level, I'm like, oh boy, I'm in for a fucking miserable time here. I'm in for, like, 20 minutes. There's probably going to be, like, mazes. Probably, like, some winding labyrinth shit here. A bunch of laser arms. A bunch of inexplicable pits in acid.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
We're wrecking the place, though, so I feel pretty good about that. Taking some measure of revenge against the establishment.
It's big science. Try to tell me not to spray aerosol cans in the air.
I'll show them. I'll spray all the aerosol. No, no, no! That's the way I want you to go. No, not that other way.
Well, yeah, that worked out for you.
There's just something about the timing there that I don't love, and that should be like the fundamental thing you get right in a Spider-Man game, is the web slinging. Swinging, even. Have I mentioned the soundtrack isn't good? I can see why this had a song that rated as one of the worst of all time, according to Twitter users.
What was the Genesis version, though, that was worse, apparently, right?
Yeah, but this can't be that far off.
Ooh,
Who the hell is this guy? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess he's dead. Oh, too tall for me to get up on the ceiling here. You know, the Spider-Man always thwarted by like high ceilings. He's never been able to.
That killed you.
Nope, just gotta rely on my jumping power. It's also fucked up. They mentioned that you can't like climb walls in this. So how am I supposed to get up there?
Maybe,
get that extra life.
Maybe you can climb walls, and it's a thing we have not discovered. But maybe there's some arcane series of buttons you have to press.
And we'll never know.
That's a death. No, it's not a death. Oh, welcome to the sewer. Fuck you.
Can I get some power-ups here? I know that first one and that second one, and... Yeah, I guess we're just in the sewer now.
You know, like, everyone says sewer levels are awful, but, you know, I think lab's just as bad. Well, here's a sewer for you, too. Let's compare and contrast.
Yeah. Who the hell is this? Sandman?
No,
like
he's
water. I bet that driplet will hurt me if I...
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
I can't reach the ceiling there. Nope! Oh, okay. Never mind. We're good. How do I get behind this? How do I get that health?
You're not allowed to go back there. See the sign?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess I should have read that. That would have helped, potentially. Can I go up this, elevator? Something? Anything? Oh!
You get up in there? Nope.
Okay, let's rewind that. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to get behind there.
Who's this feral Devin Townsend trying to kill you?
I was gonna say Devin Townsend. No, I can't jump into the background there. So those power-ups are just tantalizingly out of reach. That one too. Yeah, maybe don't try to do like perspective trickery stuff. There's the lizard.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Okay, so the web don't work. That sucks for Spider-Man, because that's basically his one advantage, besides the super strength or whatever. I thought you lost interest for a second there.
What's he doing? He just went over and he was standing there like, meh.
It appears we've reached a stalemate. Does the lizard speak with like a lispy S, like, you know, like a reptile does, like a snake does?
I think it depends on which version of the...
Dr.
Now,
Connor!
Can you defeat my ultimate form?
No, why did I do that?
Try to appeal to reason, and it backfired on you.
Well, he's flashing, so I think we were supposed to do that. I think on some level he wanted it.
He's gonna go, yeah, again, yeah. You just put a little bit of honey out, and he'll like go over and start lapping it up like a gecko.
Come on. Is this enough kicks to the face? Can we move on? Wait, why did I die? He didn't hit me. He didn't do anything there. What was that? Why did I die?
You literally had an aneurysm. You just grabbed your head, went, oh, and died.
But I gotta rewind, because I gotta literally see, like...
No, you have 0 health. Wait. You did have 0 health.
2 health. I think he did his tail attack, and then I had delayed damage.
Yeah, like that's the only thing I can think of is that you were dead, but like you staved it off somehow for a few moments.
Does this fight literally not end? Was it supposed to end when he transformed back into a human, and now the game is punishing me for kicking while he's down? Is that what's happening here? Is that what we're dealing with? Should I just like be running away from this? Should I be... What should I be doing, game?
I mean, if it were me, I'd be doing what you're doing right now and just sitting here and kicking him forever.
Whatever. Where does it continue?
I'm gonna guess the start. The very, very, very start. Yep.
Oh! Oh, we have an inventory. I didn't.
Yeah,
think
call him the thing to do this level for you.
This is dire. There's a level select code. Do you want to see another level in this game?
Why not? Sure.
Don't mind, I was just fast forwarding. On the title screen, once Spidey lands on a building, press Y, A, X, B. Right, Nintendo buttons though, right?
Yes.
Y, okay. Y, A, X, B, A, R, L.
Would you like me to translate?
A, R, L. I mean, I did it. I got it right, I think. It's just... Let's try it again here. Okay, Y, A, X, B, A, R, L. Then start. Nope.
Nope.
That's gonna do it for Spider-Man. I don't want to play any more of this.
Yeah.
This seems bad. And not even like remarkably bad, just like bad in the way that so many of these middling bad superhero games were back in the day. Boy howdy, what an inglorious note for Spider-Man to go out on in the LJN Connection.
The last Spider-Man game.
Last one ever made. They gave up after this. They realized maybe we shouldn't put this guy in Spider-Man games after all. People are trying to translate to PlayStation, but I got it right. I was pressing the right button. Square, circle, triangle. Yeah, that's what I pressed. I think I'm sure I fucked up something, but also I don't care. The next game tonight, it's True Lies for the Game Boy, released February 1995. This one was developed again by Beam Software, who were also responsible for the SNES version that we thought was pretty okay. 360 degrees of firing power.
Too much.
Thank you for putting a gift sub out there, anonymous gifter. Good time for it too, because this True Lies game, this could be a good one. This could be a present to us.
That Super Nintendo game surprised us. I think we didn't like it at first, but once we got wrapped our heads around it a little bit, it was surprising.
Yes, I would say so. Here's the advert for it. Now a video game blockbuster, not just a film blockbuster. It's not like he's saving the world or anything. Oh, yes, it is. As Special Agent Harry Tasker. It's up to you to prevent a nuclear holocaust and stop the Crimson Jihad. Oh, God, I forgot what the plot of that movie was. Ay, ay, ay. 1995, huh? 1994, 1995. Well, we're going to get into it. We're going to see if this is just a conversion, a downgraded version of its console counterparts. It's entirely possible. In fact, it's very likely. LJN in full color. This is Beam Software. Okay. Start new game, select password. That's an interesting way to do that, to not have like menu options you select between, like up and down. It's you just, here's what the buttons, here's what they do. No options menu. Okay, yep, I'm
Same
already
here.
feeling... Yep.
I love it when they directly digitize, like, actual images to a Game Boy screen.
I mean, who needs more than 4 colors? Okay, Harry, you've got to attach the modem to the computer so we can download files. We don't get to see Tom Arnold's face here this time around. And this is also top-down as opposed to the weird, like, vaguely, like, 3/4 view that was happening in the other game. But that's alright. We also have way less buttons. I feel like that's going to be the real concern here. The B button allows you to strafe, to move, and to stay pointed in a direction, so that's good to get that out the gate right away. Select switches between weapons. This photorealistic pistol in the bottom right corner, and this photorealistic Uzi.
You could probably trick people on Twitter with, like, a GIF of this, calling it Game Boy Hotline Miami.
Oh yeah, there's a sucker
Remake.
born every minute, yeah. Alright, so you can't actually do the B button doesn't work when you're holding the Uzi. Only the pistol allows you to do, and maybe the shotgun later, who's to say? Is this dude just gonna stay pointed in the same direction, just, yeah. Oh
Nope.
no, he turned around! Assumptions make an ass of you and I.
I will say, it seems to at least be easier to tell who is an enemy and who is not in this version.
Well, imagine just on a tiny screen, and being like, is that a gun? Is that a plate of hors d'oeuvres? Who's to say?
I mean, my favorite incorrect pronunciation of that is horse divorce.
Yeah, that's good. I'll go with that one from here on out. Alright, I think there's multiple routes here. I'm sure they all lead to effectively the same place, but... Is there healing items? I can't remember if there's healing items in the SNES game.
I do not remember.
Well, we have 3 lives anyway, so when we die, we should probably just spawn in place and...
Oh,
wait,
there's
no.
a healing.
Oh, come
never
on.
mind.
That's not fair. I thought that table would be cover. I mean, I guess that is fair. I guess, again, assumptions make an ass. Also, you don't move fast enough to dodge bullets effectively here.
Oh, that's true to life.
True to lies. There we go. Full heal.
Oh,
I'll take
full
it.
heal, yeah.
That's nice of them. And you're keeping an eye on chat, seeing there's any pertinent questions, queries, quests for us tonight.
Yes. So far, none.
Good.
Oh, I guess, okay, Bob did say that there are health items in the 16-bit version as well.
I will say, there is some input lag here. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but there is, like, movements that, like, you'll be in the middle of, and then when the game slows down, I think it's, like, dropping some controls or delaying the controls in some sort of way, which isn't ideal. Yeah, it's the second that there's more than one character on screen, the game definitely struggles with that. I would have, just personally speaking, made the ground, the floor here, not so detailed. I would have gone with white void for most of the space, honestly, and that probably would have been more than fine. Better for readability, even. Because that's definitely a contributing factor here, is you know, all these tiles that the game has to account for. That the sprite bank is loaded to the brim with all this stuff, but I guess I'm not a game designer, so...
I'm actually not sure how the Game Boy hardware, like, handles the difference between sprite layer and background layer.
It handles it in the sense that there is 2 separate, like, sprite layers.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, I just mean in terms of, like, how much it taxes the system stuff. I'm not a game programmer. And I'm not a game programmer circa 1980.
I mean, it's just a matter of, like, the sprite bank where they store all, like, the graphics that you could potentially tile or display or what have you. That's a security pass card used to get through locked doors. Is that all we need to do up here? Perfect. Elvis Culture Advisor says, do any Game Boy emulators model the contrast slider? No, all of them seek to do, like, the true color, as it were. Because the contrast dial didn't, like, you know, hook into the game or anything. It didn't hook into... you know, the cartridge, the ROM. There was no way for the ROM to tell you, like, you know, what contrast setting you were at. So it was ultimately just, like, directly modifying the display.
Bob asks if you have the combat roll in this version. I would doubt it.
Nope. Oh, we went around the other way. Back this way. I think it's a big staircase in the center up here.
Tiger Chimera earlier said, this looks fairly decent for a Game Boy game.
It does, but it comes at the expense of like some game speed here. Maybe it looks a little too nice for a Game Boy game. It's only 1995, so we still have a few years to really get nasty with it, to really like push the Game Boy too far, as some developers were trying to do at a certain point in time. Until that Game Boy Color came out, and then also offered like no meaningful hardware difference.
Remember when we played hard driving on the Game Boy?
Yeah, that was pushing it entirely too far.
Yet it ran better than the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, for goodness sake, Harry, watch out for the tax. Oh, that's right, I forgot. We have to watch out for people.
Yeah.
Thought it was just kill on sight.
Off.
Yes. I will say the standing and shooting does not seem very practical. It was a little bit more practical on the SNES version when the bullets were really pouring out of that SMG, but not so much here. Also, 3 hits is maybe too much for some of these guys, I'm gonna say, too, as well.
You were so close to our health up.
Watch out, watch it, Harry, and look for first aid kits.
Yeah, it's right there. Thank you, Tom Arnold, who is
I found it.
Not visible.
But yeah, this is already acceptable. This is a... not console quality necessarily, but it is the console game to a certain extent. I think these levels are different in their layout as well, so...
I have a feeling when we get to our rankings, we're going to start by saying, okay, we'll find where the first game is and put it below that.
Yeah, that's probably a safe bet. I mean, though you should say, like, the portability, that could be like a selling point for some people.
Do you want to go back and get that health since you're about to die?
I think I'm just going to not care.
Okay.
The information. Now get the heck out of there. Can do. One step ahead of you. Okay, you know what? Maybe I should get that health.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also want to get that shotgun. And that's going to take some doing, some figuring out, possibly.
At least they don't spawn... At least they don't respawn enemies.
Again, assumptions. Ass of you and I. The door is jammed. You have to find another way out. Oh, you know what? I think you're going to punish us. I think we're not allowed to backtrack. I think we missed our chance to get the shotgun, unless this way takes us there. Unless this roundabout way...
No,
this is just where we were.
We missed the shotgun.
That's a shame. Country Schwarzeneggers make do, though. Now, is this going to have the downhill section that the...
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, because in the last game, the next section would be the mountain where you're skiing on it.
I would like to make it to the mall, if possible, if at all possible.
You want to go back and see Uncle Furry's?
I gotta do some shopping at Uncle Furry's. I gotta see if there's... what kind of garments they got on sale. On sale. Fursuits, hopefully. I'm assuming that's the kind of the bread and butter.
I've always wondered something, right? So if you're someone who is like...
of the furry persuasion?
Well, kind of. If you're, say, like a scaly, right? Someone who's someone is like a dragon or lizard of some sort. Do you still have fur suits, or do you call it something else? Yeah, they scale suits. Which honestly, scale suit sounds like something that you'd have like in a spy movie.
Yep, they have the downhill momentum and everything too. So, console parody.
Bob says yes, it's still fursuit. Okay.
Oh, there's a shotgun. Thank God. They give us a second chance at it. A second chance at love. Decently tense music. They're working towards a set piece here. That's a mine. I was wondering if that was a pickup or...
Look for first aid kits. You just explode on a mine and Tom Arnold calls you and says like, "Hey, try to find a first aid kit."
Maybe sew that arm back onto your body. It's... There's a med kit. Now, we're not going to be able to go back for that one.
Yeah, just ski back uphill in case you need it. That's a mine. Okay.
Yeah, I know. There's no way through that other than through it.
You probably could have gone around. Oh, thank you for clearing the way for us.
That's awful nice of him. Awful considerate.
There you go.
I didn't want to get shot in the back. I want to get shot in the front, thank you very much. 5. I mean, that's really hard to make out. Especially on a Game Boy screen. Especially when everything is, you know, one of 3 colors. When they're that small on the screen, too. You know, maybe the Game Boy, not the ideal platform for this, but by God, they did what they could. They tried. An effort was made.
The Lynx was probably dead by this point.
Yes, well and truly, by 95.
Oh, there's Elf. I really want to see you get past this level. There you go. Oh, I love it.
There he is.
I love digitized images on the Game Boy.
Seen heading into this mall. It's up to you to stop him. Remember, not to shoot civilians. Don't gotta tell me twice.
Having worked within that constraint, it is a fun challenge.
No, absolutely. Limited color palettes, effective use of dithering.
Oh, no, not only limited color palettes, but very limited resolution, too.
Oh, you know what? They're not going to show us the names of the storefronts. They're just going to have us go inside the stores this time.
Oh, yeah, because we're not at that angle.
That makes a sort of sense, a sick sort of sense. Yeah. It's unfortunate, though.
I'm sure the
slowdown is brutal.
I'm sure the guy whose job was to come up with all those store names saw this Game Boy version. They're like, oh, they butchered my vision.
I put that one out there for all the furries, for the nascent furry community. That one skunk lady who did the cartoons on Amiga. I did this to pop them, and they've taken this away from me. Well, I don't even want to play anymore. I mean, it's
I mean, I think we've seen what this game is at this point.
Yeah, but we also only have so many games to play tonight, and it's so much
true.
history to get to, too. So maybe I really should be considering. But then again, I did just get health, so let's at least use a grenade. Alright, that's what a grenade looks like for everyone who is dying to know. Oh, I only have the pistol and grenades. I lost my weapons between levels. That's not cool. I don't like that, personally speaking. I'd prefer if I got to keep all my weapons as some sort of like reward for having found them in the previous level. All the ammo I stockpiled and so forth. Anything on this side? Oh, there's the SMG. So I can rebuild my arsenal slowly but surely. And I think this level is kind of like a maze, is what I'm gathering. We're going around in loops, so I'm extra, like, done with this at this point. That was True Lies on the Game Boy. That seems fine if you liked True Lies on SNES. If the one thing you liked about True Lies on SNES was Uncle Furries and the weird store names, then you'll hate this. You'll hate that they're missing from this version. But if you have a mental map of where they were, if you remember where those storefronts were in the SNES version, you're also shit out of luck. But because it's a different level layout. But we move on. Move on to our next game. Our third game tonight. Our third of 6. This is NFL Quarterback Club 2. The second. This one brought to us by Condor. You know, Condor. I think this is their first time appearing on the list, and their last time appearing on the list. Released March 17th, 1995. NFL Quarterback Club 2. I don't have an advertisement flyer for this one. We're just going to jump right into it, I suppose. And you know what? I'm going to have you play this one.
All right.
Just to mix things up. I also want to see Programmed by Condor Incorporated. I think you should just have control, actually. I think you should just...
Let's see.
The Condor
It's a fucked up
logo.
looking world. Oh, just right into it.
Oh, is this just straight football? Is this getting rid of like the entire conceit of the minigame compilation that defined the original quarterback club, as well as the NBA All-Star Challenge games? Is this just going to be a straightforward, normal-ass football game?
Possibly. Oh, I can choose if I want to see players on the screen or if I want to see X's and O's, which would
X's and
be
O's is probably way
way
better
more
for...
readable.
Yeah, so play with players. It's a very detailed coin. I can't tell what kind of coin it's supposed to be.
I'll receive. It's a nice, relaxing day at the beach.
Incredible audio there. Is this literally just like quick match? Was there literally no other options on the menu?
I hit start of the main menu and it took me right into pick your teams.
This is as no frills as I could ever imagine a football game being.
This is such a more stripped down game in general than the first game. Like the first game was just like a mini game collection, but this feels more slight.
I guess if you just wanted to get to the football. Because I don't think the original quarterback club on Game Boy had just normal ass, regular ass football.
It did not. Interception. Fuck. Rush Reed,
man.
Rush Reed, man.
That's my favorite superhero. He
Rush
encourages
Reedman.
kids to do reading. Yeah. He shows up in those posters in the school library.
This is a bad formation for this. Can I call an audible now? Well,
You're gaining.
nope.
You're not. You're fucked. They're absolutely going to score on you. Oh, nice little touchdown dance. That's cute. Touchdown.
All right. I mean, special teams were gonna field goal block. Let's prevent a fake. Let's prevent a fake, just in case. I think they meant a fake punt, not a fake field goal. Oh well. Oh, conversions. Oh, they were going for
a fake there.
All
You
right,
got it.
I picked correctly.
Hut.
I don't know if I could take a knee there or not.
This is truly some of the worst audio I've ever heard in a video game.
It's just static.
Is it supposed to be crowd noise? Is it supposed to be
yes, it's
the
supposed
ambient
to be
hiss of listening on the radio?
It's supposed to be the crowd, I think. Oh fuck. Get it.
Yeah, I'd have gone with music.
Yeah.
If I couldn't get crowd noise to work, if I couldn't quite figure out how to make crowd noise sound on a Game Boy, I would have done this like background music.
I'm doing that dance in real life too.
And Ballgang says the audio is nothing compared to Crazy Bus. Trust me. I am the world's leading expert in Crazy Bus. Article on the site badgamehallofame.com/crazy-bus. Literally 40,000 words on Crazy Bus. On the complete history of that song, which isn't even unique to Crazy Bus, by the way.
I've always said that conversion is a good thing. All right. Did I kick good? I'm not entirely sure what that kick thing is about. Also, you know what my strategy for defense is?
What's your strategy for defense, Sharky?
Don't touch the controller.
Just let the CPU figure it out.
Just set it up and let the CPU do whatever.
I saw there was a play called Safety Crash. It doesn't seem very safe to me, a crash. If I was trying to be safe, I would try to avoid a crash, personally.
See, like, we've already fucked up, but I know that if I had picked one of these guys, I would have fucked it up worse.
Is there any way to catch up to these motherfuckers if they get the ball?
I don't think there's, like, a dash or anything. I took control of one guy and I was trying. I figured that the other button would have been, like, a dive. Prevent a fake. Wow, we're going to go through these games fast tonight. It'll be a short stream for our finale.
You're saying that as if you're not going to play the entirety of this football match. Live on stream. There's
Can
no
you take-
no
there's no way you
impact
can take
sounds, no tackle sounds.
No, it is just the static channel. Let's do some sick tricks.
Naked bootleg sold.
That is definitely a run play.
You know what I kind of want to see?
Fuck.
No gain.
No gain. What?
I kind of want to see the X's and O's.
You want to see the
Slime
X's and
Generator
O's?
says if you choose to play as the X's and O's, then 60% of all these football games will end in a tie. I want you to
If
pick
you-
a
do you
random
wanna-
play and hit start and see if you can like quit out a game from the start menu.
I can restart game.
See what that does. See if that restarts you back to the menu. Nope, it just...
No, restarts you here.
Ay, ay, ay. Thank you, Condor, for developing.
You know what? Why
programming.
don't you take a hand at it?
Fine, if I must.
And that gives me an opportunity to go get the other stream snack drink.
Yeah, there's no like. I pressed A and B to see if there's any other.
Yeah, it's just this. This is the only thing. Somehow this feels more limited than the first game, even though this game is actually football.
I assume there's link cable play, so you could do that if you wanted to. Quarter length. Let's go with a short. West or east? Instead of heads or tails, or... Oh, I see. Doesn't change the audio at all. Out of bounds. Man, I guess I'll go read. Try that, power stunt. This is absolutely inscrutable. Oh, I guess I was... Yeah, when you have the characters abstracted as X's and O's, I guess it is a little tricky to figure out like where you are, what you're meant to be doing at any moment in time. Pass was incomplete. I'm gonna prevent a nickel. Alright, so A and B change your character. I think I went the wrong way. I think I was trying to back off, and that was maybe not the right move. No, gotta prevent a fake. I'm real worried about the potential for a fake here. Alright. Wait, I'm controlling the X's, but it feels like the O's are just like whiffing every play. It feels like they're screwing up. Which is building my confidence a fair bit, which is nice. Oh my god. Oh, that's right, I'm X's. So I think if I just do this... Oh, well played. Amball Gang asks, why X's and O's? Were they afraid the human sprites would be too confusing or something? I mean, think about think about what you were looking at earlier. Think about what you were looking at when it was all the players on the screen, and how easy it'd be to confuse members of different teams for one another, because the sprite work is,
Honestly, looking at it, I feel like that was more readable than these X's and O's.
yeah.
I would have thought it'd be the other way around. Also, you can tell that they're putting too many sprites on any given layer.
Yeah, because the way like chipping out, yeah.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the worst football game we've played, despite being the most like a football game.
Yeah.
For this, for having like the most options in the game itself, for being the most like straightforward and clear, it is absolutely, by measures of magnitude, the least playable.
Love the soundtrack though.
I don't want to look at this anymore. End of quarter. Fast quarter. Time flies when you're having fun.
This is yet another game on here. That is, I believe, another sports game where the sequel is markedly worse than the first game. In this case, by a lot.
They whiffed. The pass was incomplete. This game will be incomplete. We are not going to finish. this incredible matchup. This is the Seahawks versus Bengals match. Will remain a 0-0 scoring game for all of eternity.
Imagine being the kid who actually really liked the first quarterback club and like all the like mini games and stuff.
Can't wait
and
to see the new mini games they put in this game. Disappointment. Oh, is it time? Is it time for a second stream snack?
Oh, you can hear it. I did mention already.
Wait, no, before you say a goddamn word. Mid-show stream snack. All right, go ahead.
All right. I mean, I did say what it was at the top during the first stream snack, but I am cracking into an Alani Nu Witch's Brew energy drink, which is the caramel apple flavor. It is very good. It is maybe one of my favorite energy drinks at the moment.
It's number one on the ranking list of stream snack drinks.
It's not number one. Number one is Ghost Orange Creamsicle, whatever that one's actually called.
All right, fair enough. But
That's
a
my
close
number
second,
one.
perhaps?
I don't know if it'd be top five for sure, maybe even top three. I haven't had like a Red Bull coconut berry in a very long time, but I used to love those. I just haven't seen them in stores.
What a shame that is. Well, thank you for the stream snack update in the middle of the show there. I'm glad I had that ready to go, that graphic there. Speaking of graphics, you're not going to believe it. There's going to be a graphic on screen that's going to show us what the next game's going to be. It's Beware the Ultimate Evil of Warlock, or just Warlock. Warlock's the name of the game. Warlocking is my game. Released May 26, 1995, developed by Real Time Associates. Not these pastime, not these, pre-recorded associates. These are Real Time Associates. Here's an advertisement flyer. Magical pickups and ancestral spells unleash chaotic fury. Bored of just playing roles, Warlock delivers horrific action. I don't know if you want to call it that. I don't know if that's the right word for that. Part strategy, part action, Warlock conjures an unbeatable spell based on the hit movie. You ever seen Warlock?
Oh, no. I have not.
Neither have I. But Judge Dredd, the video game, is due June 1995. So you look forward to that. Eagerly anticipate that one. Not an LJN game.
SNES game, part strategy, part action, making me think ActRaiser. Probably not going to be like ActRaiser.
Probably not quite. And again, I couldn't tell you anything about this movie. There's a different movie tie-in game. It's actually the next game we're going to play tonight that I know at least a little more about. But this one is...
I know the historical significance of the next movie. I don't know anything about this movie.
LJN Ltd presents Warlock. Oh, that beautiful LJN logo.
Meow.
Begin preparations.
Is that all one thought, or are they two separate things?
Watch out, the title screen's on fire.
Your SNES is overheating.
That's pretty sick. It's pretty... They're cooking.
Yeah.
Music on. Stereo.
Turn on the stereo.
Controls. Blast, jump, cast, and orb. Why would you need any more controls than that, honestly? The quest begins. Oh, this looks good. I can give it that much at least.
Come here, Warlock. Come here, boy. Oh, God.
I assumed that was an enemy. Was that wrong to assume? Sorry, boy.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I think that's my pet dog. Sorry, boy. I really...
No more peeing on the carpet. You pee on the carpet, I gotta bring out the magic orbs.
Huh.
Good job. You killed the final boss. Oh, you can't swim, though. Just fuck. I was
No,
hoping for it just to go
that.
to the. I was really hoping just for the end. Game over.
I'm conjuring my orb. I'm pondering my orb.
Fushigi.
I'm just gonna go this way. I don't like what's happening in the other direction.
Yeah, I'm just going home. Where if the perspective is how it seems to be, fucking gigantic home.
Okay, so clearly we need to jump across. Somehow get across. That's our jump. It should be good enough. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Oh, okay. Things want to kill you now. Too bad it's all foreground.
Aw, poor doggy.
Well, clearly it was a different dog.
Oh God. Okay, let me get on this side. This is tough. The movement is not good enough for what they're trying to do here.
Are you using your cast or your blast?
Well, that's
your orb.
This is cast.
Oh.
This is blast.
Wasn't there a bespoke orb button though?
I mean, this is the orb button, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, that is an
there are
orb.
only 4 buttons. Oh.
I think I used up whatever items I had in the.
You have cast. Ta-da!
The quest for the first stone continues. That's what we're questing for? We were on a quest?
So do you think this movie is about a guy in modern day getting dragged into a bunch of magic bullshit, or do you think it's about, like, a world that's already entrenched in magic bullshit?
I'm betting the former. Oh no! That normal dude became a zombie. Okay, so here's a problem. Immediate problem I'm having. If you are moving and you press down while moving, you do a combat roll and don't attack. So if I want to, like, be running and, like, oh, enemy I need to attack, I need to stop running and then hold down and then do the attack. Otherwise, I'll roll when I mean to shoot. And so that has been responsible for a lot of damage I have taken so far. Also, a lot of stuff has too many frames of animation, like picking stuff up. I knew it was coming. I'm just preemptively... I don't care if they're, like, not zombies right now. They will be zombies. I'm looking out for me, for numero uno, for myself and I.
I'm gonna paraphrase it a little bit, but Video Game King says you can tell it's a movie license game because it's animated too much.
The director insisted. I already don't like how big this level is.
Mr. Taco says this is apparently based off the second movie. There was a second movie? I mean, there was a first movie, but there was a second movie?
Yeah, I saw someone posted a link to the Wikipedia article for the first movie, and it's had 1989 as the release year, so... The Warlock franchise.
There was a sequel, Warlock the Armageddon.
Who plays the Warlock? Who are we playing as right here?
Julian Sands.
Boss fight.
Does that name ring a bell for you at all?
No.
Looking for anything. He was in Naked Lunch, I guess?
That is an important movie. Not a particularly good movie, but... God, the roll! I need the roll to stop being a thing that you do in this game. Is that the magic stone I've heard so much about? Oh, I think whatever spell I just used there was not what I meant to use, but, Alright, I feel empowered. I feel bigger and bolder.
Okay.
This is what stones get up to.
have to find the answer by ourselves.
I feel like you're not... Okay, I feel like Julian Sands is not the character you're playing as.
This rune will allow you to return Gurkle. I'm assuming this is the password system for this game.
Thank you, Frog Wizard. You're welcome, Gurkle.
Hello, my Warlock. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Travel now to an ancient time where other stones under darkness and cursed guardians lie. But beware, you're in for a scare. I wish this flaming conjuring spell would make the letters appear a little fucking quicker. But beware, for the rest shall not come as easily as the first.
Alright, you are not playing as Julian Sands.
Who am I playing as, then?
I'm trying to figure that out. I'm going to assume it is based on the second movie. Okay, the Julian Sands character, the titular Warlock, who's the guy who blew up the bridge, and he did actually kind of look like him. He is the son of Satan, who is trying to destroy the world.
Hate to see that.
Your character is... In the movie, I think Kenny Travis, played by Chris Young.
I still have not figured out a use for the orb, by the way. I guess I'll make more of a concerted effort. Okay, so it does do attacks. It does do something. Oh, secret. Behind the waterfall. Wait, what? Was this the right way to go or the wrong way? This doesn't really help me with... Having the title screen pop up made me feel like I did something wrong. Or not the title screen, but, you know, like the title card, I should say. This thing is impossible to control, by the way.
So Chris Young was basically the guy who would show up in one episode of a TV series.
You gotta have actors like that. They are important. Yeah. They do make the industry go round. I mean, Law & Order's gotta cast, like, someone to play the dead bodies at the beginning of episodes, right?
Which I looked to see if he was any dead body on Law & Order, but no. He was never in Law & Order.
Surprising. They usually are. How do I select different magic spells, potions?
Also, your health meter up top ain't looking too good.
No. Oh, there was a Say Something Nice redeem. I don't know. I don't really have anything negative to say about this game so far. I mean, it's not good.
A little obtuse, perhaps. Also, the fucking 4th gen curse of the foreground element ever present in this game. We haven't said anything good so thus far.
We said it looked nice. I said it looked nice right at the top.
Yeah, okay.
One of the first things I said. As a neat presentation to it.
How do I even exist? Says supposedly you can use the orb to grab items.
I can also use my body, my hands. Oh, we suffered to death. Huh? Oh, is it one life to live?
Yep, here comes the Warlock.
Oh, okay. Alright, it's one of those games. Can't skip these. Preparations. Is this where you go to enter the password? Let's see if I remember it. It turns stereo off, by the way.
The Slime Generator says, I like that Say Something Nice. I got 2 negative observations. And Tiger Gamera says, that tends to happen when I redeem them. We're not... It's just... Look, we're still struggling with the Say Something Nice, I think.
Was it...
Gurkle with 2 Ks.
Oh, that's right. Of course, 2 Ks. Oh, well, hold on. And ye shall pass.
I wonder if that saved your health. No, that password's too short to save your health, too.
What if I don't go into the cave? What if I just keep going right?
Worth a shot.
Maybe I'll get a different level. The Fushigi has failed me.
Do you ever have a Fushigi?
No.
I still, to this day, want a Fushigi.
Easy to master. Or easy to learn, difficult to master.
I don't even necessarily want to learn. I just want
Just
a
to have
nice
it.
shiny ball that I can kind of like fiddle around with. I don't need to do tricks.
I'd want to learn sick tricks. That's why I first got into cards, into playing cards, was to try and learn tricks, and I realized they did not have the dexterity for any cool card tricks. So then I just had to learn how to play cards instead. Like, you know, to play poker and stuff like that.
Yeah, like my... Ooh. Ooh. Light as a feather. I forgot what I was going to say.
I figured it out. Wait, no! No, I refuse to accept that. Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me. I don't know. Okay, so the magic system is weird in this. In that you see that like slot in the top right next to our character portrait? Oh, L and R switch between stuff. I've been trying to figure that out the entire time. They didn't mention it on the control screen anywhere. I was trying to select, hoping that would accomplish something.
I'm fully aware of what I'm
Okay.
doing. Can't you see?
So this is not a good idea. Whatever idea they had as far as like, you know, levitating over stuff, but like going so high up that you can't actually see like where you're landing, maybe not the best implementation of that idea. A novel idea.
Sarah Roxune asks, why does this wizard kind of look like a completely smashed Kevin Nash?
Big Daddy Cool.
Decided to go in the cave anyway.
It's a dead end on the other end. We got that magic, we got that spell, we got whatever we got as reward for that.
This is definitely one of those games that I feel like you need the manual.
No, this is actually very straightforward.
I mean, for all the spells and for the thingies like that,
Oh, you can just
Like to
trial
know
and
what they
error
do?
that stuff to a certain extent, right?
I guess, but it would probably be a smoother experience using the manuals.
Yeah, since when do we ever
Granted,
opt
we'll
for
never
that?
do that.
I'll be dead in the ground before you catch me. Doing any sort of research before we go into one of these games.
Magic Meows says, maybe you should explain what Fushigi is for the benefit of people who don't know. No.
Look, you either know or you don't know, okay? You're either in with Fushigi or you're not. You're either part of the movement or you're against it. God damn. A lot of shit crawling around.
That's up to the viewer to decide if they want to, like, Google or look up Fushigi on YouTube and experience the magic for themselves.
If they're ready.
Yeah.
If they're ready to live that Fushigi life.
You know, like when you're ready for Fushigi, like, Fushigi will find you.
Yes.
Like, the urge will come
Fuck.
where you're like, I should look this up.
Right, this is the button I press to make things happen. I want to see what happens if I jump across, if I don't get trapped down below. What cool rewards.
That's a fucking boss from Comic Zone right there. That is the first boss from Comic Zone.
Well, they decided
Just
to do a
colored
cameo in this
differently.
game. Hey, you know it's a living.
Battle Tank asks, is it intended that there's no rewinds? We just forgot to set them. We turn them off for like streams where it wouldn't make sense, where it would just be a waste of points. We forgot to undo that.
Yeah,
but that's just gonna make it easier for us tonight.
You know, we're also not going to play too much more of this. I think this
Yes.
is perfectly acceptable. If you're a Warlock head, a Warlock in training, it can be a little mean, though. Some of this enemy place and stuff, and some of these foreground elements, like you mentioned, are, yeesh.
This is just how the 4th gen was. Just they realized they could have like so many different layers.
And it's a big part of why I hate this entire generation. Just that and the fact that I just don't like the platforming, the side-scrolling perspective is just...
I will say, I did pick a very good time to get the Witch's Brew drink
Fuck.
for our Warlock gaming.
Okay, there we go. I used...
All right, question.
What you can do is you can use your lives to fully restore your health.
Interesting.
That's what that thing there is. So that's an idea. If you don't want to have to start at the beginning of the level, you can just be like, well, I'll sacrifice, I'll burn a life here.
All right, I have a question for you before we move on. Since I'm talking about Witch here and we're playing Warlock. Okay. Do you use Witch and Warlock as gendered terms, or are you like, a guy can be a witch, a lady can be a wizard or a warlock?
Anyone can
There's
be
no
whoever
wrong
they want
answer,
to be.
but
Yeah. I guess I just never really mention warlocks or think about warlock as a word too often.
But wizard is a more common one.
Yeah. Anyone can be a wizard.
Yeah, I tend to be more of the line of like, you can have male witches, you can have
And so by
lady
that
wizards,
logic,
and it's,
I suppose anyone could also be a witch.
yeah. I feel like it's a vibes thing. Like, with your brand of magic, is that like witchy magic, or is it wizardy magic, or is it warlocky magic?
Well, I have a couple t-shirts that were made by witches. By practicing witches, apparently. I just thought they had cool designs on them when I bought them. So I've supported the witchcraft in my own little way, I suppose. I mean, I don't know, like, it doesn't help that I'm someone who doesn't believe in any of this stuff, who doesn't believe in magic.
That's fine.
So it's
I feel like, though, there are a lot of self-proclaimed witches. Cool. Not enough self-proclaimed wizards.
I feel like the wizard has more of an expectation. Like, witches, like, you can just, like, sit in front of a cauldron all day long and make cool shits. You do, like, interesting things with, like,
like, very naturalistic
and hair of the
stuff.
Dog. The wizards have to be, like, doing, like, performing. Have to be, like, doing, like, light shows and magic and making stuff happen. I just want to see another password.
This rune will allow you to... Oh, never mind.
Shapujal!
Let's just see what the next level looks like.
Sure. Beyond the garden, the castle of the wizard lie 2 more stones, but be wary, for the garden is not all it seems.
Magic now says you can just become a witch. Being a wizard requires apprenticeship.
That's because it's quest for the 3rd stone. But there's 2 stones in this place. They just said in that screen. So I'm already confused here. This level, much like the last level. Is it up? There we go.
There you go. Hey, that's kind of neat. Having that as a thing you can do.
I knew that thing was gonna, like, get up and attack us. Yeah, there, okay. You have to wait for it.
Amazing fighting technique.
Guess I'll just do that. It's a nice little rain effect. I don't know, this game is probably fine. These fights could have maybe used a little more work. These fights in particular. Okay, now they've dialed their aim in. Alright, you have arrows, I have my Fushigi, bitch, so... In the battle of archery versus Fushigi... Fushigi should win. Fushigi should.
Like, okay... Who would use a Fushigi, a wizard or a witch?
Oh, that's a good question.
That sounds like wizard shit to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine, like, someone with, like, a floor-length white beard and a pointy hat going, Fushigi!
We're getting a lot of mileage out of the Fushigi tonight. That's good.
I know.
We need something for this game.
You can get a lot of mileage out of your Fushigi for only $29.99.
Is that what the price point was on it? I'm going to take your word for it.
I made that number up, but I'm going to find out.
A fight so nice, we gotta do it thrice, 4 times even. How many more archers will we kill? How many will we fell tonight? There's no good defensive options in this game.
A Fushigi ball, a officially licensed Fushigi ball costs $39.99.
Ay, ay, ay. Inflation. Back in my day, you used to get a Fushigi for $29.99. You liked it. Yeah, I think we more or less are picking up what this game is laying down.
Magic Mouse asks, what about knockoff Fushigi balls? Those are $29.99.
Can you try the Ping P?
Ping P.
Yeah, sure.
Which apparently might not work on the SNES, but we can give it a shot.
Sure, we'll do that.
Everyone
is going to make
really
Pong
wants
work,
us to try
apparently.
this. Everyone really wants us to try.
You know, I'm also going to say this. We'll try it here, but, you know, if you're ever, like, curious about, like, an Easter egg or a weird thing in a video game, you could also play video games for yourself. You know, not to be mean here, but... Oh, for God's sake. It's start to select on the menu, then when you're in the options, it's A. You press start, it takes you back to the main menu. There's no letter I.
Yep, cool.
I'll go with the L. We'll see if that accomplishes anything. Wait, there's no N either. Well, there's your answer. No, it does not exist in this game. You cannot inscribe ye Pong word, unfortunately.
And Magic Meows, a knockoff Fushigi ball on AliExpress is $13.35.
Can you really put a price on knockoff Fushigi, though? I guess you can.
A lot of them are actually a lot of ones here are 99 cents, which I assume are just like
metal balls, and that's it. Just like ball bearings.
I was gonna say, like, you know that thing where you can like put water in like some sort of like gelatin material and make like a ball of water. I assume it's just that. You're just getting like water in a very thin membrane shipped to you that just instantly breaks the moment you touch it.
Entirely possible. And guess what? That game was the last game of 1995. There were only 4 games in 1995. The next game we'll play comes out in 1996. But before we get to that, a little bit of history. A little bit of information you need to know as we move into the year 1996. In 1995, Acclaim acquired outright Sculptured Software, Iguana Entertainment, and Probe Entertainment, condensing them into a singular development studio known as Acclaim Studios. So Sculptured and Probe had both been contributors to the LJN label, had produced games on their behalf, had done contract work, and this is the point in time in 1995 where Acclaim's like, you know, we keep contracting. What if we just acquired you? What if we just rolled you into our business and we just like tasked you directly? And Acclaim's gaming business was further expanded that year with the purchase of exclusive rights to publish Taito's games in the West. Taito, you know, Space Invaders, big Japanese development house. So Acclaim was making moves in 95. They also, in 95 or 96, I believe, established a motion capture studio built into their headquarters, making them the first video game company to have an in-house motion capture studio. And this was done for the benefit of, I don't know if this was the first games to leverage them, but the WWF games they started making at a certain point. Like those PS1 and 64 ones in particular were some of the first that I remember utilizing motion capture. Some of the first video games ever I remember utilizing motion capture. And I'm not talking just like rotoscoping like Prince of Persia stuff. I'm talking like, you know, like the ping pong balls on the suit. You know, that whole gimmick. That's where it started with Acclaim, apparently. And Acclaim's utilization of the LJN brand in 1995, well, up to this point, it had been a practical arrangement. Obviously, LJN had no real autonomy past the year 1990. They were just an Acclaim sub-label. But they were a sub-label that Acclaim got use out of because, you know, Nintendo and their limitations of how many games you could put out for the NES. So that's, you know, what was the impetus originally for buying LJN at that point in time from MCA. But by the year 1995, Nintendo wasn't really enforcing that rule anymore. They didn't really care. They were just like, yeah, put out whatever. For the most part, as long as you're paying them the money to get your cartridges manufactured, as long as you did the licensing arrangement. So by 1995, there was really no more use for the LJN label, realistically. And so they dissolved it. this is where LJN really was supposed to end. Is in 1995. They had one game though that the release was delayed. A game that was supposed to come out in 1995 to accompany a movie release in 1995, but due to reasons was delayed, and so the LJN Rainbow got applied to at least one more game before being officially sunsetted. And that game, well, how about we start with the movie first? Cutthroat Island, a 1995 adventure swashbuckler film directed by Rennie Harlin. I see two N's together. I misread as an M. Morgan Adams, played by Gina Davis, and her slave, William Shaw, played by Matthew Modine, are on a quest to recover the 3 portions of a treasure map. Unfortunately, the final portion is held by her murderous uncle, Dawg, spelled D-A-W-G. Her crew is skeptical of her leadership abilities, so she must complete her quest before they mutiny against her. This is made yet more difficult by the efforts of the British Crown to end her pirate raids. So now, is the premise.
What role did Kermit have in that movie?
Yes, very similar Treasure Island vibes off of this poster, off of the swashbuckling theme, but whereas Treasure Island was, seen as, flourishing, was memorable for being like, a decent one of those pirate movies, and Muppet Treasure Island and so on and so forth. Cutthroat Island is the movie that killed the pirate craze. This movie killed it dead until Pirates of the Caribbean brought it back. This is the reason why you didn't have pirate movies for a long time between 1995 and 2003, as I have in my notes here. The film had a notoriously troubled and chaotic production involving multiple rewrites and recasts. Critical reactions were mixed and negative, and the film was one of the biggest box office bombs in history, with losses of, get this, $147 million. Yeesh! That sounds like nothing nowadays. That's even with the price adjusted for inflation. This is a time where a movie costs like $100 million to make, and another $100 million for marketing, as opposed to magnitudes of billions of dollars like they fucking cost now. So for a time, this was, in fact, it actually holds the Guinness World Record, or held it for a period of time, as the biggest box office bomb of all time. I think it took it from Ishtar, was a previous record holder.
Do we know what the record holder is right now?
No, but you can go look that up. Well, I mentioned that this movie is also responsible for the death, not just of the pirate film for a while, but of Carol Co. Pictures, who had been responsible for distributing Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the movie. And that would possibly account for the structure of Acclaim and or LJN's deal with Carol Co. to produce and publish a Cutthroat Island video game. So, they had worked with them on T2, and apparently Carol Co. had been fine with the games they put out, the T2 games they had put out, and that let them negotiate to do a Cutthroat Island video game, which we're about to play right now. A series of them. Cutthroat Island games came out across the Genesis, Game Boy, Super Nintendo. You'll notice on this box art, there is no LJN logo. The LJN logo only appears in-game at this point. Like I mentioned, the development or release of this one was delayed to some extent. Hence why the LJN logo appears in-game, but not on the cover here. You may notice... Oh, sorry, you go ahead. Did you find out?
I was about to say, I can't really tell for sure because I'm getting some conflicting information, but it's either the Lone Ranger with...
Oh, the Disney one? Yeah.
Yeah, or John Carter.
John Carter from Mars. I'm guessing it's probably that one.
Yeah, that says at most 265 million loss.
Yeesh. So you may notice on the box here, in addition to not being an LJN logo, there's an exclusive interactive sweepstakes. Win a real-life treasure hunt. We'll actually look at the ad flyer here, which has further details on that. Treasure awaits you on Cutthroat Island, if you survive. And I'm going to read this ad copy in the bottom right corner. Play for gold! Hidden among the many torrid levels of Cutthroat Island are 5 real treasure chests. Find them if you dare. Then correctly answer 3 sweepstakes questions to be eligible for the drawing, and you can sail away with one of a treasure trove of prizes. This is one of those games where they tried to promote it with like a real-life treasure prize giveaway sort of thing. In North America, we hadn't seen something like this since what was that NES game that...
Treasure Master?
Treasure Master. And before that, there was like the Quest series on Atari 2600.
Right.
Japan had been doing these like pretty steadily, having like, sweepstakes write-ins, contests around their games. But this is a North American company's attempt to get in on that, and I don't believe this was ever delivered on. I don't believe this was ever fulfilled.
Who carried that torch into the early 2000s? I'm trying to remember. It's whoever did Turok Evolution.
Acclaim.
Acclaim. Yeah, it was okay. So it was still Acclaim.
Yeah, Acclaim did Turok.
Yeah.
I mean, they did. Iguana developed it, but yes, Acclaim. And we'll get into some other Acclaim shenanigans.
Yeah.
Some interesting promotional tactics they attempted. But again,
still Acclaim.
But yeah, I'm gonna say that I certainly couldn't find anything on who won this contest, if there was any sort of follow-up. Because by this point, Acclaim definitely didn't have any money. Acclaim was, to be clear, after acquiring those studios, going into 1996, they were in pretty dire financial straits. Carolco not existing means that they probably didn't have the money to put up. They had a $147 million loss already, so...
I'm going to guess no one won that contest.
I'm going to guess. I think it's a safe bet. But were you a winner if you just bought the game on its own? Were you a winner if you got to experience Cutthroat Island for yourself on your Super Nintendo Entertainment System?
I suppose I'll be the one to find out, right?
Yeah, no, that's good. I'll do that. All right, here it is. Wait. Pause.
Well, that means you get the...
Published by LJN Inc., subsidiary of Acclaim Entertainment. And that's it! That's why this game is on the list! I don't think there's going to be the LJN logo in the title cards here.
I was going to say, me playing this means you're playing the last game.
I am fine with that. But that's it. That's the last you're going to see of LJN. That is the last official appearance of LJN in a video game, almost completely stripped from this.
Dog Brown.
It is a 1688. I was off a little bit with the year there. Jolly Roger, Dog Brown, etc., etc.
Dog Brown with his friend Elliot must find out what's wrong on Dinosaur Island.
Did it say friend Elliot?
No, I'm making shit up about Blue Stinger.
Oh, right. Oh. I was curious if they used the word slave here, because that is technically the role that Gina Davis's partner character plays. She is the protagonist of the movie. That's a big reason people blamed for this movie bombing, was the fact there was a female lead and that people weren't ready for it. That people weren't willing to accept that, as if Cynthia Rothrock hadn't been in fucking movies, like as the leading lady, as Michelle Yeoh and so forth.
You'll need to give me control.
Oh yeah, I sure do, huh? There you go.
All right. Check out those options real quick. Fighting style sword play. Do I get to choose?
I wonder if that's going to be your character select.
Well, there seems to be nothing beyond, unless I'm missing like a button. Nope, that's it. The only options are sword or brawl. Oh, it's a 2-player. It's probably... I still choose. I'll pick her. Morgan. Morgan helps Shaw escape under the condition he helps find the treasure. Okay.
You'll never make it out of here alive, pirate. Guard, Caesar!
Jump. That.
Is this all single plane, or is this a beat 'em up, like you can like move up and down? Okay.
And then R and L do nothing. That's why I always like forget R and L ones, because they do nothing.
Video Game King saying Gina Davis's character is a slave. That's a very loaded term, continuing games. No, the complete opposite. It is what's-his-face is the slave to Gina Davis's character. To be clear, she is the lady pirate. She is like the new captain of like a ship. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. It's not very good.
Oh wait, do I have a grapple? I have a slide move
style.
I'm gonna die because I was fucking around with things. All right.
Well, yeah, the first life is always like a throwaway. It's you figuring stuff out.
Every enemy is Captain Hook.
Magic Meow says this game has a weird look to it. Slime Generator says this whole game looks like it is made out of clay. Johnny Baggett says this was like a DOS game. No, this doesn't look terrible to me. The background's a little simple, I guess. They could have, you know, used more color depth, done some dithering, done some things to make it look a little more detailed, but, you know, it's stylized. No, you can't scroll the screen anymore left, I guess.
Oh, I just want to do my little
Wait,
dance.
oh, that's a gun!
Yeah,
it's
he
a
has
gunblade.
a gun. Yeah. Alright, I'm fucking around too much. That's costing me. I need to roll into his legs and take him out. Oh, Jesus.
This seems
He's
tough.
losing, like, no... Yeah, this is tough. Fuck.
Maybe reassess? Come up with some sort of strategy here?
Do I have, like, a super move building up? Yeah, I have a... Ooh, get the
No,
bun
there's
up.
like a jack-o'-lantern face in the...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That was building up over time.
How do I even exist as? This reminds me of Sword of Sodan. Nothing is as bad as Sword of Sodan, come on.
You've earned a special move, bi-directional stab. Yeah, this game does have like a weird look to it. Not a bad look, I will say. Just a weird look.
Oh, is that
Did I
it?
fuck up somehow? Did I fuck up somehow? I did fuck up somehow. Okay, I have control
Battletoads, eat
over
your
the...
heart out. Oh my god.
Alright, I see the issue.
Snellgrave, my good fellow.
Oh, we were fucking around the cart. They're off to get Mai Tais.
That didn't seem very good.
No.
Are you just
Now,
gonna
granted,
linger there?
I was
or
playing very badly. We're going straight to the title.
Okay, well, here's what I want to do. I noticed there was a two-player mode. Let's see if this is co-op.
Yeah, sure. Did you take player one, or...?
I did. I am player one.
Okay.
Let's try brawling. His Majesty's prison. His Majesty's secret prison. They didn't give the character select here, so I'm assuming yeah.
Okay. And we still have swords, so I really do not know what that options thing was, because I tried what felt like every button. Oh, wait. Now, so I'm holding a sword, but since you picked brawling, I'm just not using the sword for anything.
Yeah, same here. I can use the sword to block. Oh, wait.
What?
Double jump.
Okay, I didn't know I could do that. That's so weird. Like, instead of, like, having, like, no sword in your hand, it's just like, hey, pick this option if you just don't want to use the sword that you have.
Well, I can use the knife.
Oh, no, wait. But I used the sword just there. I don't get that. Is that... Oh, do you think that's, like, a...
Contextual.
Like a... No. Do you think that's an option for, like, parents or something? Like, I don't want to see my kids, like, stabbing someone.
No, I think it does change the combat.
people.
I think it does change your range, so... By the way, in case people want to know, I am playing as Gina Davis' character. I'm playing as Lady Pirate.
I'm playing as this guy, whose name I don't know.
Shaw, I believe. Now, let's work together on this one.
Yeah. Try to, at least.
We don't have up or down movement anymore. They took that away from us, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Two edge are better than one when it comes to this, it looks like. One up.
Pick that up. There we go. You built up whatever your rage meter was at the end of that fight there, but... So how is this gonna work?
Probably me controlling.
You? Yeah, alright. Well, I guess bear in mind that where that first rock is, and then you have to move down after that.
Quarry. And remember, keep an eye out for this treasure chest. I want some money, Charky.
Right. There, then move down. And then, who knows? Who knows after this?
Fuck! Yeah, I really just have to commit this to memory, huh?
this sucks. I hate this.
Yeah, not
Oh.
ideal.
You just have to remember where the shit is.
Speaking of,
Yeah,
fuck
it was on
that.
the top.
Down.
Like, you know, people give
Fuck
shit to the
off.
people give shit to the turbo tunnel in Battletoads, but it does tell you when something's coming up. Oh, that guy you can't run into.
Good, I love when the game changes the rules on you. Also, very Spartan music here.
Yeah, Giant Bag says, honestly, this makes Battletoads speed bikes look fair in comparison. They are fair. Like, in a way that this is not.
This is pirate music, right? This is appropriately piratey.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, this section alone is, like, dropping it a lot of places in the ranking for me.
Fuck off. Fuck off! What am I supposed to do here?
You're okay. You
Okay, game plan.
you should have been on the top track to begin with. Is the thing.
Yeah, but then here's the problem with the top
Fully
track.
aware of what I'm doing. Can
And then you have to
see?
move down.
That's the problem.
Real fucking fast. Not there.
Up, down.
Is there a control we're missing? Can we jump?
No. Wait, maybe? No. No. This is why it's so good to have the rewind, by the way.
There's 6 buttons on a Super Nintendo.
No, it's just the
you have to
tightest
do it
time in the
correctly.
world. Oh, it's the last
Yeah.
obstacle in the stage, too. That was bad.
That drops it a lot of places
That
on the
drops
list
like
for me.
that drops at 10 points on the rankings just on its own. Just yuck. A dirty town
that's a
filled with
lot.
rude people. I know that kind of town.
The option between sword and brawling being on the main menu and you still having a sword regardless of what you pick is
Well,
just
some might
so
you
weird.
combo into your sword with this.
Yeah, but like, why is that an option?
It's a good
You know?
question. Oh, I figured out how to. I didn't figure out how to people, but I figured out you can pick up people.
All right, X and A is the buy stab, which I have to translate that in my head. Oh wait, it's not a stab though because we don't have sword. We're not using swords proper.
We also don't have 2 swords on us. We only have the one, so how would we do a bi-directional stab?
Yeah, when I do that thing, he just punches behind him.
How do I even exist as, what were you saying about this being much better than the Sword of Sodan? This is much better than the Sword of Sodan. Still, check out the article on the site, batgamehalloffame.com/sword-of-Sodan for the most comprehensive history on Sword of Sodan ever written, all of its versions evaluated. I
really
door up
wonder what
there?
that. No, I was gonna say I really wonder what that Halloween meter is. If that's just like a passive buff or something you have to cash in.
Fully
Go
aware
back.
of what I'm doing.
Maybe we
Can
left
you
someone
see?
alive and we shouldn't have.
Crowd's cheering us on.
No. This door? No. Button that I haven't figured out yet? Dance? Yours is better. Your dance is better. By a lot. Knock knock.
Singing Telegram.
Oh. How'd I do that?
What did you do?
I didn't know if that was gonna be. I was trying to slide.
You can jump backwards. That's neat. See that?
Yeah.
You pretend like a trampoline.
What the fuck are we supposed to do? Is this something that if we find out would be like, oh, or oh, fuck this?
Probably fuck this. Probably a fuck this situation if I had to hazard a guess here.
K4 Boom says there's an open door. If you mean this one, we can't go up there. If you meant one back there that we missed, No?
Down the alley.
Oh, down the alley.
The game needs to tell you, needs to have an arrow there, just being like, you can do this, by the way. You can go down. Bad. I'm just gonna come out and say bad design there. Not clear at all.
That guy there, the one you're beating up, looks like he should be in a different game.
Yeah, it's a little incongruent, to say the least.
What's that French comic called? Asterix and Oblique, something like that.
Obelisk or
Obelisk, yeah,
something along
looks
those
like he should
lines.
be in there.
Like the beat 'em up element is fine,
Functional.
with that minecart and the navigation. And, you know, what is... I think it looks fine, but, you know, some people clearly feel some sort of way about this for some reason.
I will agree that it looks strange, that parts of it don't mesh together in terms of art style, but I don't dislike it. I think part of that is what makes it stand out. I think if it looked like sort of like generic or more like uniform, it would be less memorable.
Sure. And the music being as weirdly Spartan as it is also definitely, like, an interesting point. Oh,
Ooh, treasure.
There's one of the treasure chests. Only
Anything?
however many more to find them, to get the treasure, to get the real-life treasure, I suppose. I wonder if, the door
Did I misinterpret what the ad said about getting the treasures? Because I thought they said, like, find these treasures in real life. Like, we've hidden them in real-life places.
No, you find the
Maybe I
treasure
misheard
chest
it.
in the game, and then you call a phone number.
All right.
I picked up a flintlock pistol.
I definitely misheard it then, because I thought they, like, geocached that shit.
No, Sharky. No, it's treasure chests in the game. That's why I talked about, like, the real-life promotional campaigns and Treasure Master and that sort of stuff.
I know, but I mean, I'm also used to, like, these sort of things, like going into, like, bullshit real-world stuff, too.
I replaced my pistol with this chalice. I can just hit people with it, it looks like. Looks like it's just another melee weapon. How do I even just they were thinking of Hair Razor, and like that's like an example of like one that had a real life like buried treasure that I don't think anyone was able to find, or that someone cheated to find, or so there's a whole story about that.
Oh no, wait, no, go back. Let this guy animate.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? Put him in a game.
See, that's some of the weirdness that I think would lead to some charm in this game, were it not for that minecart section.
How about the fact this is a co-op
That
game?
minecart section is going to be the death of this game.
How about the fact this is an honest-to-God co-op game, cooperative beat 'em up on the SNES. They couldn't even get Final Fight to be a co-op game on SNES.
Wasn't Final Fight 3 co-op on SNES?
May have been. Welcome to the party, Morgan and Shaw. Perhaps you bought me a present. Oh, we're sorry, we forgot.
Oh, sure, I have one right here. You want? No, come back. I was going to give you the... Uh-oh.
Oh, that's the guy from the game over screen.
God, this... Bars in this town are rough.
Yeah, back off of him when he gets downed. We got it!
Bye. Oh god, wait, I was looking at chat.
No, we got this jabroni here. It's alright, I stun locked him, it's okay.
Yeah, I thought that was the end of the boss fight.
The spinning slice. Well, there's a progression. There's like, you're learning moves, you're adding abilities to your repertoire. Like a double
here's a
dragon on
minecart.
NES.
We have to find the answer.
Say something
by
nice. I think
ourselves.
we've been saying something nice.
I think I've been saying carriage chase. Never mind. All nice things go out the window. I know exactly what this is gonna be.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, never mind. It's gonna be a fight like this. Okay, this
Get
could be...
off. Oh, thank you.
Oh. I died.
Oh, I died.
This is...
Spit.
Oh,
Whoa.
no. Oh
That's the end of the
no.
game.
That's unreal levels of bad. It's just out of nowhere with no time to prepare yourself. Holy shit. The swings,
This
as
game-
Magic Mouse says. That's incredible. It swings from, like, interesting and kind of okay and having some ideas to be
Yeah,
just like,
it's-
here's some levels that suck, by the way.
It's weird. It's like every other level is the fucking worst, and then after that, it's like, oh, here's a decent level.
You forgot to drink, though, twice. Yeah, I'm not keeping up with... I've been doing a bad job keeping up with the redemptions tonight. Sorry.
Well, we're drinking now.
Yeah. It's a shame that the show really hinges on these redemptions, on me drinking, that you really can tell at home when I am and when I'm not. It's good that you hold me accountable to that. That's gonna do it. There's no passwords in this game.
Wow, that's gonna rank low, and I'm gonna feel bad about ranking so low because this could have been better.
You don't say.
You can see how this could have been better. All right.
That's a wild one. And again, the last intended LJN game. Wild stuff. That's a weird note to go out on. But alas, that's the one we're left with.
Tonya Cat says peak rental game.
Yeah, that'll fuck him over. That'll make sure that we get a whole 3 days out of him if they keep the die-in on that on those 2 levels. You ready for some more history, folks? I'm ready for some more history. In 1997, 2 years after Acclaim's acquisition of Sculptured Software, during which it offered employees what looked like an ironclad contracts and stock that would be vested over the course of the contracts, Acclaim terminated about half the staff of the Salt Lake City studio, violating its own contract terms.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah. So it's interesting because, obviously it's an issue that we keep dealing with in the industry, but also the fact that, they picked up Sculptured Software, who were prolific in their LJN output, and their output for Acclaim under the LJN label, and then just to shut them down 2 years later. It's pretty diabolical stuff. The layoff came so abruptly to the point that the employees had to choose between taking a reasonable severance package, whose terms altered several times during the initial weeks after the layoff, and not suing the company, or join the other creditors and sue, but lose their severance packages. Lawsuits arising from this action persisted until as late as 2007. This shit stayed in litigation. Acclaim kept this going for fucking ever, as all true scumbag corporations do. Also, in April 1998, the WWF announced they would not be renewing their deal with Acclaim, owing to the superior quality of WCW's titles in collaboration with THQ and Aki. And then they instead decided to sign a joint publishing deal with none other than Jakks Pacific and THQ. The relevance of those 2 studios being that they were 2 studios founded by Jack Friedman, who had founded LJN back in the day. And likely they made those arrangements with Jakks Pacific and THQ on the strength of knowing that Jack Friedman was now leading those companies. It was no longer had anything to do with LJN or Acclaim or whatever else. So we're going to deal with the guy that we trust, the guy that actually put their faith in wrestling, that did all our figures for us and stuff. So we're just going to sign with those guys, and you good luck, Acclaim. So come 1998, the reason I bring up these 2 points is that by 1998, Acclaim was just barely scraping by, having to own up to a toxic reputation in the industry, and the fact they had flooded the market with licensed direct for so many years. And to be clear, this isn't retrospect, hindsight, people being like, man, they sure put out a lot of licensed games at LJN and that Acclaim. That this was known. This was commented on back in the day. This was their reputation in the late 90s. Magazines would make fun of them for it. And we'll get to that in just a minute as well. So titles like Turok Dinosaur Hunter are well known, and their previous wrestling games, their WWF games, especially those FMV, the ones with the FMV character scenes. What's that, Warzone? Those games have managed to keep the lights on. They kept Acclaim, kept them in business to an extent, but the company was still in a perpetual state of damage control at basically all times. And so towards the end of the 90s, moving into the 2000s, they started trying to turn their bad reputation around and began something that is very uncommon, in that they actually started owning up to their past mistakes, so that they might be able to move forward. What we're going to do here, I have some excerpts from Next Generation Magazine, issue 40, an interview with Chairman and CEO Greg Fischbach, CEO of Acclaim Interactive, or Acclaim Entertainment, Greg Fischbach. The name of this article is To Hell and Back, and I will link it here. It is a fascinating article, to be sure, a fascinating interview. We're going to read some snippets here. Charky will play the role of the next generation interviewer, and I will play the role of Greg Fischbach and answer some questions here. But I do encourage folk to read the whole interview. It has some very interesting insights. And I'll also mention that they mention Acclaim by name. They don't mention LJN, the label, by name in the course of this. But know that people knew full well that LJN was Acclaim, that Acclaim was LJN. And that when they talk about licensed games here, they're specifically talking about Acclaim's outputs as it regards the LJN label and the other sub-labels they worked through. So it wasn't a secret, is what I'm trying to get here. And so just bear in mind that when we go do these questions. And I'm going to give it to you, next generation interviewer Charky, to ask me the first question.
Before we talk about the present and the future, let's talk about the past. And let's get one thing straight from the outset. Acclaim games used to suck. Can you admit this?
Can I deny reality? Certainly, there were a lot of games that didn't sell well. Acclaim was built on a half dozen different products, and that's where we got the strength to go forward. Look at Mortal Kombat. This first game sold 6 million copies worldwide. The second sold 4 million units. The original NBA Jam sold 4 million copies. The Tournament Edition sold another 2 million. These are huge numbers. They're so big that you can hide a lot of not-so-good stuff in between these big hits. Before you ask that question, I just want to clarify. They're talking about the console versions of these games that Acclaim got the console publishing rights for stuff like Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam back in the day, deals they had with Midway. So that's what they're specifically referring to here when they talk about like units sold and whatnot.
Gotcha. Let's talk about that not so good stuff. There's no denying that Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam were very popular, but back in the early 1990s, a bunch of terrible games found their way into the hands of unsuspecting gamers, courtesy of Acclaim.
We were a different company back then. Look, besides, when you're dealing in issues of quality, someone's making a decision as to what's good quality and what's not. It's a subjective thing. Entertainment doesn't deal in areas of absolutes. You and I aren't always going to agree on what's good, what's bad, and what's indifferent.
During this period, do you think Acclaim was an asset or a liability to the video game industry? By forcing a bunch of not-so-good or B-grade games into the marketplace, you may have put off a lot of people from playing video games for good.
You talk about B-grade games, but could say the same thing about B movies? And should you release them? I don't know of any movie that's set out to be a B movie. Everyone aims for the top, and yet most will fail. Similarly, I don't know of any game that sets out to be a B game.
But Acclaim did deliberately set out to release B games. It's obvious that your strategy was to spend a lot of money securing a big name license, and then spend a lot more money marketing it. The game itself was of little importance and was developed on a relatively tiny budget.
Aside, isn't it great? Isn't this interview great? Isn't this interviewer like doing their fucking job? Isn't that wild? That like
objection!
You're actually getting like pushback from an interviewer that's not just like sucking up to the person that they're interviewing. They're just like, yeah, but this was literally your modus operandi. What are you talking about here? All right, so answer that question. Okay, but what effect did this have on the industry? Personally, I don't think you can say that a company releasing B-grade product has had a bad effect on the industry. I don't think that because B-grade product was released in the marketplace, people stopped playing games. Look at it this way. I was in the music industry for a long time. I know firsthand that some awful records were released, and yet people haven't stopped listening to music.
Fair enough, but why, instead of investing in gameplay quality, did Acclaim used to spend so much money on big-name licenses and marketing in the first place?
And I like this answer because this gets to the core, and this is me speaking, of course, this is Cass speaking. This gets to the core of like why LJN existed, of why they ran with LJN for so long, and so forth. And so I think this is actually very insightful. The nature of the video game business was different back in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Up until 1995 and 1996, hit games came from three places. Either they came from the hardware companies, such as with Nintendo and Sega with Sonic, or they came from the arcade, such as Capcom with Street Fighter II and Midway with Mortal Kombat. Or they came from licenses. We are in a hardware company, and back then we didn't have an arcade division, so we had to go with licenses. It's a strategy we've been criticized for, but it was the only way we could get our products into retail.
Why did the market say enough is enough?
Before 1995, there were a lot of video game magazines that talked about games, but they had very little influence on which games sold well and which did not. In 1995 and 1996, however, the specialist magazines of the internet became much more influential in dictating taste, establishing products, making products successful. Gamers became a whole lot better informed. You can now read reviews, previews, and pre-previews of games in development all over the world on a daily basis. Opinion formers, both journalists and hobbyists, become the Siskel and Eberts, for want of a better word, of our industry. And retail took notice. Before this time, retail wouldn't recognize a Turok, or indeed any other little-known game with a great gameplay for that matter. In fact, retail didn't really pay attention to the quality of a game at all. But now that there was a real buzz for them to tap into, they started paying close attention.
You're saying it got more difficult to sneak a bad game onto the market.
It got almost impossible, but they still do occasionally get there. Laughs in parentheses.
How close did you come to going under?
In 1996, it seemed like we couldn't do anything right. We could see the bottom, and it wasn't a pretty sight. You wouldn't want to be there.
It was Batman Forever that almost sunk the ship, right?
There were others too, but yes, Batman Forever, and Forever, and Forever. But everything got sold eventually. Everything always has a price point, whether it starts at $50 and then drops to $40, to $30, to $20, $10, to $5. Everything sells eventually. I mean, nothing ended up getting buried. And if you remember back to 1995, Toys R Us had racks of games at hugely discounted prices. It wasn't just us.
Do you regret the old Acclaim? In hindsight, do you think you made the wrong decisions?
Look, I don't think that we chose wrong necessarily, but we were a little late in building a creative organization. In 1995, we bought Probe, Iguana, and Sculpture, and we set up their coin-op division. These are the investments that are paying off today and will help us survive tomorrow. Had we not done this, we would not be here today, sure. But then, on the other hand, had the old Acclaim not taken the steps that got us the capital to buy these development studios, then we wouldn't be here today either. And that's a end scene there. Yeah. And there's definitely some interesting points here. Like, look, this Greg Fischbach guy, he's a bit of a shyster. He's a bit of a con artist. Legally speaking, he's a con artist. Legally speaking, he did some unsavory things with money and finances and lied. We'll get to that when we get to that. But, you know, the transparency here, like, he comes into this interview, obviously, like, with his marketing spin, with, like, having his talking points, but he's at least willing to engage with this interviewer. Uncredited interview. I'd love to credit the interviewer here, but I didn't see their name on the pages, unfortunately. But, you know, so he plays ball. He's willing to be, like, transparent here. And this was, like, what Acclaim was trying to do. The name of this article is To Hell and Back. The caption in the top left corner of this image is, Hiss Boo, it's the game company we love to hate. So, to be clear, despite being the third largest software publisher, like, that isn't a Nintendo or Sega, that wasn't, like, a first-party studio at this time, despite as ubiquitous as Acclaim was at this moment in time, they still had this stink about them. They had this reputation, and it, you know, even a guy like Greg, who is, you know, doing some shady stuff with money on the side, is at least savvy enough to be like, okay, we need to address this head on. And they do make some moves, moving into the 90s, the later 90s and the 2000s, to try to right the ship. But we're going to take a break from the history for a second here. I know this was a long time. I wanted to get it here for chronological purposes. We're going to stay in the year 2000 as Acclaim sets their sights on publishing for the Sega Dreamcast and look to fill out their number of quote-unquote available slots for publishing titles on the consoles. Like back to the Nintendo rules, like you have 3 games you can publish over the course of a year. Sega was basically auctioning off, like, we'll give you this many games you can publish over the course of a year. We'll give you 3 for this studio, 4 for this studio, for this publisher, whatever. So you best capitalize on that. And Acclaim had their number of slots, and they wanted to fill it out. They wanted to get as many games onto the Sega Dreamcast as quickly as possible, which led them to purchase the console rights to a European exclusive PC racing game from Hasbro Interactive, so they might publish it on the Sega Dreamcast under their own purview. Except that's not quite how things go. This is Spirit of Speed 1937. This is the last LJN game. I know we said the last LJN game before, but this is... Cutthroat Island really was the last real one. This one is... you know, LJN isn't really a publishing company at any point past 1990. We mentioned this. That, you know, LJN wasn't like a business that was operating. They were a label that Acclaim saw fit to use. And this is 4 years after the last time they had used it. They decided to dust it off. This is released July 31st, year 2000, developed by Broadsword Interactive, originally for PCs, as mentioned. And we're not going to go into the full fucking story here, because I wrote the world's most comprehensive article on this game. It is BadGameHallOfFame.com/spirit-of-speed-1937. It had exclusive interview, was previously exclusive. I think it's been published in a book now, that I conducted with John Jones Steele. Or not that I conducted, someone else conducted, that I got early access to so I could use his answers to formulate details in the article that no one had known about before with regards to Spirit of Speed. I'm really proud of that article. I think it's a really good article. It goes into a history of Broadsword Interactive, the developer, how the game got handed off between 3 different publishers at different points in time. The people were basically playing like hot potato with this fucking game, and just so much more. So if you want the full story in Spirit of Speed, we're going to play a little bit of it. We'll play like a race or two. But I am going to quote just one snippet here as far as the question of why the LJN logo got pulled out of mothballs and slapped on this game.
For nostalgia, you know, to pop the fans of LJN.
Yes, clearly. There's those diehards, those LJN diehards. So this is me quoting myself. Naturally, this branding decision would perpetuate a rumor that Acclaim didn't have confidence in Spirit of Speed, and chose the label specifically because of its association with lackluster games as a deliberate act of self-sabotage. This strikes me as an incredibly stupid theory, as Acclaim could have just as easily not published the damn game in the first place if they didn't have any faith in it, let alone bother to acquire the rights in the first place. Plus, you know, publishers aren't really in the business of deliberate self-sabotage and knowingly flushing money down the toilet. If I had to posit a more educated guess, the real reason why the LJN label was used was probably more to do with something legally or contractually obligated, like maybe the terms of one of their other racing game licenses, either F355 Challenge, Passione Rossa, Revolt, or the Jerry McGrath Supercross series, barred them from releasing another racing game under their larger publishing label for a period of time where said license title was still on the market. Or perhaps Acclaim's own reputation at the time, known to be mired by financial woes on multiple fronts, was somehow perceived to be even more toxic than the defunct label they were looking to dredge up. Obviously, I wrote this like 2 years ago or a year ago. I can't remember. Time flies. If I had to append this, if I had to speculate further as this, I would say I was probably right about the Acclaim realizing their own reputation was so deep in the toilet at this point that they were so toxic in the industry that they thought, well, the LJN logo is literally going to do better than the Acclaim logo at this point. Acclaim is basically like, people will stay away from Acclaim games. Maybe they'll remember LJN with fondness. I think it's something along those lines. I think it was a test. I think it was an experiment. I think they had faith in this game. Again, I still say that anyone who thought they were like self-sabotaging this product, trying to sink it deliberately, they were advertising the game. They had marketing. They had promotion for this. They had a real-life race that they had sponsored by the game. They had some amount of faith in this product. Whether that faith was well-placed or not, who's to say? Wasn't well-placed. But like ultimately, they thought this had a chance to succeed in the market, and for it to have the best possible chance is obviously an imperative of theirs. And so I would think that they're just like, let's see what happens if we just bring out the LJN logo. Let's just fucking see if it makes any difference at all in sales as far as like where our projections are if we just publish it under the Acclaim logo versus if we publish it under this sub-label. I think it's something to do with that. John Jones Steele, who was from Broadsword Interactive, who worked on the game, they were asked about it if they had any insight into that, and their only answer was like, well, I know they had slots they had to fill, which I don't think that would necessarily mean they had to like change labels for that they had to pretend to be LJN again. I think Acclaim as a company would have the slots, and whatever labels they decide to publish under, they'd still be filling those slots out. But that's enough speculating. That's one of those ones we might never know the answer to fully. But what I can tell you with certainty is that this is the last video game we're going to play tonight. This is the last game of the night. I'm going to load it up now. I will bite the bullet. I will be the one to play this. I didn't think I would have to play this game ever again, but here we are.
You're the one who wrote the article on it.
Fully aware of what I'm doing.
I am the world's leading expert on this game, believe it or not.
We got a drink up coming in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, the car lover, who I'm sure must be over the moon with this game, showing up on the stream. You can see the Spirit of Speed, the original title for the game, still present in that graphic. There's the LJN logo, that's it! They show for like 1 second at the top of the game. No animation, no nothing. Let's see this intro.
Yeah, this is how video games used to look back in the day.
Back in the good old days.
And the game was the game.
So as the world's leading expert on this game, it's like a 2 or 3 out of 5. I don't remember what I rated it in the article. I put little ratings, star ratings in the tags and the meta tags of the games. I never really highlighted my scores in my reviews in my articles.
I can see on your launch box it's a 2 out of 5.
All right, then that's probably what it is. The load times here are going to be significantly improved over an actual Dreamcast, being that this is an emulation. Just know that they were much worse on a real console. That was one of the major complaints people had with this game, as a matter of fact.
Now, could you raise like a little, racer on your VMU for this?
No, there was no...
Like feed him and pet him?
There was no VMU stuff. There was no VMU integration in this beyond just saving. I gotta look at the controls again. It's been a minute since I played this. People talk about Grand Prix Legends, which is a game that predated the Spirit of Speed 1999 PC release. I think I mentioned Grand Prix Legends in the article as well, as a game that people remember fondly, and rightfully so. It seemed pretty neat from what I saw of it. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We could do an actual race. Some of these laps have 20 laps. We're not fucking doing that. Let's do a scenario race or two. These have stories written. These are just they set you up with the car, with the track, and to send you in. I think this is the best way to experience the game. I think if you're going to play Spirit of Speed, unless you're a diehard racing enthusiast, unless you know all these cars and tracks by name, and they are real-world cars and real-world tracks. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why LJN was brought into this. Even though this isn't a license, a movie license or whatever, all these cars are under license from the original manufacturers. The racetracks were under license from the people who maintain those tracks. So maybe they're just it's close enough to a licensed game. Anyway, the way I think people should engage with the game is to go through all the scenarios. Each difficulty level has different scenarios within. We'll start with easy. You can see there's a few different ones here. 5 of the most powerful machines battling for supremacy at Avis use the Alfa Romeo Bimotore, the Alfa Romeo Bimotore to finish in the top 3. At least you can start from pole. Vive la France. The French countryside provides a beautiful backdrop for this European challenge using the Audio Union D. Some of these have more interesting stories. These ones are just generic races. This one is a German-Italian... I think this is based on a real-world thing that happened. Italians on home soil.
If Video Game King posits that if it was the case that they took license to mean kind of any license and slapped LJN on it, then Turok would have been an LJN game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Turok was a comic book first. Okay, here we go. When you get into medium difficulty, they start to have more personalized scenarios here. Fast money! A bad run of luck at the roulette table sends you to Donington in search of prize money. Beat the lap record of 1 minute 30 seconds in only 3 laps to pay off a loan shark with big hands.
Is that 1 minute 30 seconds or 1 hour?
1 minute 30 minutes,
mercifully. 1 second. Okay.
Race for the chance to join the Dust Devils racing team at their home circuit of Roosevelt. Use your Mercedes 154 to finish in the top 3 from a start position of 6. Just numbers, toss numbers at me. There's one story in particular that is... This grueling, lengthy track will take its toll on the best of drivers. Pit your wits against this harsh, unforgiving landscape and aim to win in the Audio Union D. You start in 4th position, so be quick off the mark. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Racing for honor. You have been disrespected in public by a local hoodlum. You must win back your honor on the track. Beat the Alfa Romeo P3 in your Watson Flyer at Monza.
You got pants on the street. Drive so fast everyone will forget about your tiny dick.
A Duesenberg isn't the world's best car, so we'll be good enough against some better handling cars at Donington. You start first, but need to stay there to get the checkered flag. So these are cute. Following a protest by the Gaelic Women's Suffrage Society, half the field in this charity race are women. Gams! Drive like a gentleman, but secure a victory by any means possible. You're in the Bugatti 35 at Monterley, and starting from the front of the grid. Get a point. Fast money. Let's do fast money, why don't we? So that's the race select. Actually, you know what? Let's do the short one. Well, which one was a minute 30? Yeah, okay, it was that one. Good. Cars already selected. The track's already selected. The sounds we could adjust if we so chose to. One last look at the controls here.
Right. So I assume that you're not going to have the option to drive an automatic.
No.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I should probably pay attention to the gears. Right? Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
You can see our competition here. And let's start it. Wonderful start. Gear up. So yeah, old-timey cars with old-timey handling.
This is
not the most accurate handling, I will say. They weren't quite able to manage that feat, but you can see them crashing and turning and spinning out.
This is the slowest 60 miles per hour.
It actually is gear shifting for me.
Oh, it is.
That said, if I need to
But see-
reverse, I still need to shift it back into reverse, like from whatever gear it's in. And
So
also,
it's
if you
like-
want to take turns at lower gears, I'm not doing that.
Woo! Yeah, that's how old-timey cars work. They're just made of rubber.
Boing, sproing. I don't think I'm gonna get the lap record.
Man, whenever it's time to like upshift, like it. Well, now it's not doing it, but there it is. Like the car sounds like it's in great distress.
Yeah, these things were built for straightaways, not really for turns. So the turns were like a genuine challenge back in the day. I'm gonna shift gear low. I'm gonna slow down. I just take the turns as slow as possible. It is better to be safe than it is to spin out in this game.
Well, you're getting your kneecaps busted.
Now, usually around this turn, there's cars that are stuck. The AI in this game is not great. It will very often completely stall out to your advantage.
I also noticed that you have a constant eye not only on your body condition and fuel, but also your oil.
Yes, you do need to get that changed if it gets filthy.
Maybe one of the most misophonic games.
You know, this game appeals to a very specific kind of person, and it's good that they got served this game.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been better if it was better. You know?
Yeah, most bad games would have been better if they were better. Yeah.
Funny that. Ugh. That's lap 1 of 3.
Wait, I thought wasn't the goal to do one lap?
It's to get a lap with a time of 1:30 in one of your 3 laps, or just to win. I would assume. I would assume it's okay if I win, or I assume that the AI is like timed or like scripted to like finish in a roundabouts that time.
The car lover says surprisingly fast gear shifting for 1930 standards.
Well, these are the fastest cars you could get in the 1930s.
Slim Dinner says these cars need to play La Cucaracha when you hit the horn.
No horn
Gale
button, sadly.
Gale Pond says even the racing stuff in Mafia 1 was better. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Look, I mean, this is noisy. It's not great. I don't think it's the worst racing game ever, though. Like, it's definitely far from the worst racing game I've ever played. At least interesting, at least serving an underserved market. If you read the article, you can see the game was not what they intended it to be at a certain point. There was a whole lot of, like, issues they had with Microprose and Hasbro, and again, like, getting, like, hot potatoed between different publishing houses and whatnot. That, you know, when they first signed with Microprose, like, they literally, like, They went to a meeting, they pitched the game, and the guy who worked like as a representative for Microprose said, "You are not leaving this office until we sign a fucking deal to get this game. We want it so bad." But then Microprose like suffered like severe financial hardships. And then Hasbro took over, and they were less keen on the game. And this game got bounced between like 3 different directors. So the end product is not what anyone wanted the game to be. And that's a shame, because they had genuine heart. They had genuine ambition for this. It doesn't stick the landing. It wanted it somewhat to be a simulation game. Then a different director said it needs to be an arcade game. And then a different director came on and said something in between. And they're just like, how do you make in between arcade and simulation? Those are 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. And like, what's the compromise?
Then along comes Drive Club for the PS4.
And
I think that was what they were trying to...
Yeah. So we've already lost this one. But I at least want to finish it. And then I'll switch to... Woo!
I love that. I feel like a potential strategy would be to bounce off a wall in just the right way that you carry your car across walls at super high speed all the way down to the finish line. That almost feels like I think that would be possible.
It's not, unfortunately. It is possible to go out of bounds in this game, though. I managed it
easily?
Once. No, I managed it one time in my time spent playing this game a bunch when I was writing the article for it.
Johnny Baghead says, in reference to, like, how do you split between simulation and arcade, he says, funny you say that, Cass, because Simcade is a subgenre of racing games.
Well, there you go. The more you know. Want me to just wreck this car on this turn?
Sure. Full speed.
It is possible to wreck the car so bad that it starts smoking, and it just, like, breaks down completely. Oh,
hello.
Oh, I'm in neutral. I thought I was in gear 1, but it rolled me back to neutral at some point.
I mean, that would be a good way to break your car.
You can also just drive... Oh, you know what? I have an idea on how to break the car. I mean, we could finish this race. We're so close. I could black flag on the last lap if I wanted to be.
Oh, this is the last lap.
Race over. There is one track in this game that you can only play in first person. I want to do that one, because that track is incredibly narrow. You better hope you can get out of town faster than that. They have messages, unique messages for whether you win or lose the challenges that are kind of cute.
I like the idea of these scenario mode things.
Yeah.
Having little bespoke stories for them.
Quick race. Let's do an easy quick race. Let's take a look at the cars. Wild stat variances. Wild handling variances, too, believe it or not.
I feel like, you know, given more time and budget and stuff, you know, you could have, like, little 10-second FMVs or something to set up the story.
Yeah. Which of these tracks is... Street Circuit, that's the one. I think. You know what, and just do myself a favor.
Ah, cool. Yeah. Oh, there's music. I didn't even hear the music prior.
That's because it doesn't play during the races.
Oh, okay.
Alright, let's just do a quick race. This should be the one that's in first person. Yep. We get this proper heads-up display here. And the game will straight up not let you switch to a behind-the-back camera for this one, because the streets are so narrow.
Completely not working rear-view mirrors. Shouldn't be surprised, though. I thought that was a tractor for a second. The red one, as it was coming around into your view.
I will turn this heads-up display on, though.
Also, turning down car volume did not stop.
No, it just lowered it. I guess there's a sound effects meter. And there's no music playing here either, for whatever that's worth, so... Alright, that dude's stuck behind me, so that's good. Clunky is the word to describe this, but that's kind of what you'd want out of this game. I mean, even in its best form, even in the unrealized vision of it, it was going to be clunky. That was, like, the selling point of it. Was that, like, hey, you want to drive old-ass cars? Well, they're going to drive, like, old-ass cars. And I admit that commitment to gimmick, as it were. Well,
That was definitely the wrong way. This is definitely the wrong way.
Well, they're going that way. Oh, there we go. Oh, they want me to do 8 laps on this.
Yeah. The
Well,
audience
that's
at
not
home
gonna
wants you to do 8 laps on this.
All right, cheer if you want me to do 8 laps.
Subscribe to the channel if you want to do 8 laps. Actually, subscribe to the channel if you don't want us to do 8 laps.
Please.
Folks, it's September.
All right, I'm going to do 1 lap because I just want to see how long this course is. And there all the courses, there's some very long courses and there are some very short courses. There are ones that really earn the number of laps that you're meant to do and ones that do not.
Bonk.
Perfect. That's actually exactly what I wanted. I want to get into a head-on collision. I want to drive the wrong way.
Ooh, whoa. Ooh.
Emulation
Interesting
error.
noises.
Actually, you know what? If I recall correctly, if you drive too far in the wrong direction, I think it might just black flag you. Let's see
Yeah,
if that
that's-
happens.
I mean, that's, I assume, what that flag was going to be. Yeah, you're definitely going to get black flag for this. Whoop.
Here, other racers.
Here we go.
Anticlimactic. Let's see if this other dude's moving faster. There's another dude on the track, so if I can hit him at a higher speed. You can take a look at the
Now,
drivers if you want to.
Now, if you take out all the other drivers, then you win by default.
I think I fucked him up
Actually,
good. This is a
I'm
valid
not-
strategy. This
yeah,
is
I'm
a way
not
you can
wrong
win.
now that I think about it.
Okay, is this dude gonna problem solve? I guess he did manage to problem solve it. But now he's stuck on the greenage.
Yeah, I've heard tell that the AI in this is bad.
A little bit. You also see us burning through all our oil right now.
Yeah.
Which should also cause your engine to blow up.
You're burning through all 100 wishes that you got from this genie.
I wish
every
this game
single-
was better.
No, every single wish is, please don't let my car blow up. Please don't let my car blow up.
I'm sure this is great audio too. I'm sure this is great for the viewer at home. I'm liking this. I'm loving
Like
this.
I said, most misophonic game.
Are we racing? Are we racing? Am I driving? Am I fast?
We had one wave file.
Oh, we
make the
actually
most-
destroyed our rear tires. So we actually can't get any momentum going. We can get to the pits. There is a pit minigame. Oh, well.
Whoa!
There we go. That's what I wanted. And I've completely lost control of the engine. I think I fucked them up too, though, so that's good. You know, if I'm going out, I'm taking someone else with me.
I think he's slowly moving. He's just like, excuse me.
No, go around. No, don't reverse into the.
I wonder if he's gonna break his car too. Oh, he's trying to straighten you out.
Tiger Chimera says a perfect end for the LJN games. Sputtered out.
Burning wreckage.
Burning wreckage. And that's it. That's the last LJN game. We played them all, Charky. There's still history to get to. This stream isn't done. Hope you're liking it so far. But that was the last game we are mandated to play as part of this series. You don't say. It's really over, at least for us. Hot damn.
Wait a minute.
Apropos. Oh, Spirit of Speed. You're an interesting one. You're a curious one. Play the PC version of it. That PC version is much better, believe it or not. But that is not the end of the story. We still got to follow up on what happened to Acclaim and what happened to Jack Friedman. So let's go ahead and do
Tuck
that.
in, folks.
Yeah, this is the... And we still have to do the rankings after this, too, by the way.
Yeah.
There's still stuff to do on the show today. And stick to it. Stick with it till the end, folks. I want to say some stuff at the end of the stream too. Stick past the rankings. I want to thank everyone for joining and say some stuff at the end. But for now, let's conclude this history. Following a massive round of restructuring in 2000, Acclaim were positioning themselves as a publisher on the comeback trail, whose return to form would surely prove profitable in the years to come. Selling off stock shares in order to shore up additional funds couldn't have hurt either. And the company was finally able to report financial positive profits, earnings by 2001. For the first time in years, they were able to post profits. And this prompted the New York Times to pen an article claiming that Acclaim were, quote, back in the groove come March 2002, crediting their moving decisively to cut costs and slashing its payroll by about 200 employees to 600. So going from 800 to 600. But the odd thing was that the bulk of their software output was still critical in financial flops, and folk were wondering, how could they continue to report profits? This fact finally seemed to catch up with them in the back half of 2002, as the company were forced again to cut costs and reshuffle their corporate structure in order to stay afloat. The next time the New York Times would cover Acclaim, nearly a year to the date later, if you can see on the dates on these two articles, March 31st and March 30th, 2002 and 2003 respectively, both written by Warren Strugach. Near a year to the day later, the headline would read, at Acclaim, too many lawsuits, too few hits. And yeah, there were some lawsuits going, which is to say that by March 2003, Acclaim were named in no less than 6 separate ongoing lawsuits, several of which, quote, accused CEO Mr. Fischbach and several other colleagues of defrauding investors by conspiring to conceal information that showed the extent of Acclaim's problems while manipulating investors with statements they knew were false. So in summary, Acclaim had been lying the entire time about their financial numbers in order to appear more stable to investors. They had lost access to all their strongest IPs and licenses, and they'd been made to deal with multiple simultaneous lawsuits all at the same time, all while executives were secretly plundering whatever meager money the company held in reserve in order to facilitate their personal purchases of, quote, homes, stock, and other purposes. To top it all off, their games largely stunk, and their marketing tactics had made them industry pariahs by this point. So not the best situation for LJN to be in. Let's hear more about those marketing stunts. During Acclaim's decline towards bankruptcy, the company made several controversial business and marketing decisions, particularly with regards to their business in the United Kingdom. First, there was a promise that a £6,000 prize would be awarded to parents who would name their babies Turok to promote the release of Turok Evolution. A later investigation by Connor McCarr on behalf of VG247 in 2020 found that all those who had reportedly changed their names were actually actors that had been paid by Acclaim. You can see that article here, this VG247 article. Another marketing tactic, was an attempt to buy advertising space on tombstones for Shadow Man's Second Coming's release. I have here a quote from The Guardian that I'm going to retch by the end of, but the quote goes, a computer games firm has been accused of pushing back the frontiers of bad taste after it announced it was seeking to advertise its latest title on gravestones. Acclaim Entertainment said yesterday that it would pay relatives of the recently bereaved in return for placing small billboards on headstones, and that the offer might, quote, particularly interest poorer families. The company later said this move was nothing more than an early April Fool's joke. Ha ha ha! To promote Burnout 2 Point of Impact, which, believe it or not, Acclaim published, they offered to reimburse any driver in the United Kingdom who received a speeding ticket. They had a campaign where they said, get a speeding ticket, send it to us by mail, and we'll reimburse it for you. Following a negative reaction to this from the government of the United Kingdom, the plan was canceled, probably for the fucking best. Acclaim spokesperson Alan Lewis made to comment on these tactics in a CNET interview on these marketing tactics, said that the video games industry is the fastest growing segment of the entertainment industry. We're always looking at new ways to reach an audience, and because it's for games, we can have a little fun. Just a little fun, you know, saying a poor family should pay to put this on their headstone. Okay. I say all that, but they're not wrong. These tactics got them a lot of press. And I hate to break the illusion here, but they weren't actually ever going to do this shit. They weren't actually ever going to put the shit on the gravestones or pay anyone for it. They weren't actually going to reimburse those speeding tickets.
Yeah, you're telling me they're not going to spend so much money on reimbursing speeding tickets for an entire country?
Believe it or not. Look, this is the shit that stinks on Acclaim's name, that people remember forever about Acclaim, that people, when you say Acclaim, these are the things that people think of. And as funny, as sensational as these things I just said are, it's not fucking real. It's marketing. they weren't actually encouraging this behavior. It was just something to get their name out there in the press. When people, and to be clear, none of this negatively affected their bottom line. As well, it shouldn't have. Like, morally, yes. It's kind of reprehensible and despicable to even, like, joke about these things that they're joking about. But these aren't the reason Acclaim went out of business. And it's frustrating when people conflate these stories with Acclaim going out of business. When they say, like, oh, Acclaim went out of business because they were trying to advertise their games on tombstones. No, that's drawing the wrong conclusion from data. That's a complete, like, misinterpretation of what happened here. Acclaim went out of business because all their executives were plundering the fucking company, and they were making the worst financial decisions imaginable at a period in time. They went out of business for every reason besides these marketing campaigns. These marketing campaigns were basically the only effective thing they were doing in the early 2000s. Like, it's great to have these stories. They're sensational. They make a video pop. They've made this slideshow here pop, right? But ultimately, these are insignificant in the history of this company. They are a part of the reputation. They have followed Acclaim to the grave. But are these facts important to the story? No, they're just funny. So
Followed them to the grave, much like an advertisement for Shadow Man's Second Coming.
So what really killed the company, what really contributed beyond the plundering, was that the company had gone and lost some of their most potentially lucrative IPs and licenses over the course of the last several years, early 2000s. We mentioned the end of the WWF licensing arrangement they had come 98. They lost the MLB license at a point in the early 2000s. They had a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen license that they lost because they weren't paying their royalties out to the twins. They owed them about $187,000 USD that they just tried to get out of paying, and that ended that deal, that collaboration. But the big one is alienating cyclist Dave Mirra with their marketing of BMX XXX, a game rooted in the same engine and gameplay which had driven the Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX series, which had been somewhat successful for them, and which Mirra would go on to sue Acclaim for, so one of the 6 lawsuits going at the same time, to the tune of $20 million USD, for initially publishing and marketing the game with his image, without his express permission, thereby degrading his image. This BMX XXX game, which ended up being like pretty trashy and not particularly good either. So it would have driven a nail into the coffin of that franchise either way. But, you know, again, it just goes to show that Acclaim was making bad deals, losing trust, losing partners left and right. The end was inevitable. And the end came in August 2004. They would be crushed under the weight of all these controversies and things going on. They were made to declare bankruptcy. Their few remaining IPs of worth were divided amongst other publishers, were bid on in the open market. Investigations into the company following their demise would reveal the full extent of the executive corruption and shine light on the economic disparity between the company's executive class and lower-rung employees, which is to say, the rich got richer, the poor got poorer. To this day, Acclaim is a name synonymous with failure and seediness in the games industry, as well it should be. So that's really the end of the Acclaim story, which is, you know, the end of the LJN story. Because, you know, again, at a certain point, LJN was just Acclaim, so that's why we needed to pursue this story to the end of Acclaim. But that's not the end of the slides here, because when LJN was first founded, it was the brainchild of one Jack Friedman, and I would like to tell you all about what this Jack Friedman guy got up to after the year 1990. So, come 1990, this is around the time that MCA was working to acquire LJN, if you remember from our first episode. As per the terms of their deal regarding LJN Toys' acquisition, they had Jack Friedman signed to a long-term employment agreement, so he could have had a job for life there and continue to cash those checks in if he had stuck with LJN through that merger process. In being merged into Acclaim. This is him saying this to a Cabbage Patch Kid, by the way. That's him on the left. That's Jack Friedman on the left in this image, in case that needed to be clarified. Amidst the financial turmoil of the LJN situation, that whole Entertech thing that we talked about, I think episode 3 of this series, and MCA is getting cold feet. So just before MCA sold LJN to Acclaim, Friedman left the company that he had founded, and he pursued establishing a new company. And that company would go on to be THQ. You know what the THQ stands for in THQ, Sharky? I guess not. The answer is Toy Headquarters. Because this was a
stunned silence, and definitely not me having to use the restroom.
Yes, all right. I should have figured as much, but yeah, Toy Headquarters. That's what THQ always stood for at the beginning. It was established in 1990 in Calabasas, California. During the summer of 1991, Friedman agreed to have THQ acquired by the Trinity Acquisition Group, which allowed Friedman to become the president of the newly merged company. So this was a highly successful company back in the days. During their formative years, Friedman acquired licenses for Hollywood productions and focused the development of the company's video games on popular films, much the same as he had done with LJN. He was running the LJN playbook again, basically. The company flourished at first, and Friedman sold his 46% stake in the company on its initial public offering, gaining $13 million for himself. In 1992, THQ's sales greatly increased, jumping more than 70%, but the video game industry began to head towards a more technical focus around this time, is how this summation puts it. In an August 26, 2002 interview with the Los Angeles Business Journal, Jack's Pacific chief financial officer, Joel Bennett, explained this turn of events, because by 2002, Friedman was working for Jack's Pacific. We'll get to that in just a second. To quote Bennett, "Back then, games were more like toys than technology. When the development of game software evolved more towards the technological side, it became beyond Jack's comfort zone. He's a low-tech kind of guy." So, bearing that in mind, with Jack no longer in his comfort zone, with THQ moving away from toys and becoming more of a video game-focused thing, and with video games moving from the realm of toys and trivialities into these technological marvels, he felt out of his depth. Frustrated, stuck in a business where he increasingly had no natural affinity for it anymore, he struggled to remain content at THQ. After the company reported an $18 million loss in 1994, that seemed like as good a time as any for Friedman to leave for greener pastures again, to start a new company. So, you know, you could say that Friedman is kind of cut and run here, that when he recognizes the company that he founded is starting to spiral, enter that death spiral. I mean, THQ obviously went on to last for much longer. LJN was at least used as part of Acclaim for a while, but he just didn't want to stick through it. He's just like, bigger and better things, let's start over. You can criticize him for that, certainly, for not going down with the ship or whatever, but, you know, it did allow him, getting off THQ did allow him to found Jack's Pacific. In 1995, with almost $3 million in personal investment, Friedman co-founded the toy company Jack's Pacific with friend and longtime business partner Stephen G. Berman, who had actually been there back in the LJN game days, and then worked with him at THQ, if my memory serves. Hold on, I really gotta clear my throat. I am getting like... Sorry, I've been talking for so goddamn long today. Me. Okay. From the start, Friedman wanted to use Jack's Pacific to, quote, consolidate the fragmented toy industry. Again, he's getting into this with the intent to do toys. That was always his passion, was toy lines and figurines and stuff. Not so much the video games, even though all these companies ended up embracing video games at different points in time. Now, at the time in 1995, the toy industry was dominated by the, quote, Big Two, Hasbro and Mattel, who together controlled 1/3 of the approximately $15 billion wholesale U.S. toy industry. Friedman knew he wasn't going to compete with them immediately, but so his business plan was to outcompete the hundreds of small competitors and a handful of medium-sized toy companies by just acquiring all of them, by just merging all of them into Jack's Pacific, and also by leveraging licensing arrangements, which had always been his strong suit, always been like what he had been known for, is just arranging and brokering these brand deals, these license deals with celebrities, with movies, with anything that he could feasibly market. And he was good at that. And apparently all these brands fucking loved working with the dude. As the toy industry as a whole struggled with low profits, as the rest of the toy industry was failing, Jack's Pacific in 1999 was flourishing. It was selected as one of the country's fastest growing companies by Fortune magazine, went on to earn that distinction 2 years in a row. During the company's first year, Friedman had signed a licensing arrangement with Titan Sports, at that time the parent company of the World Wrestling Federation, which secured an important source of revenue for the company, basically set them up for success. They had an exclusive 10-year deal that gave Jack's Pacific the right to develop and market a line of action figures based on the WWF's wrestling personalities. Much the same as with LJN. Literally, he's just running the LJN playbook again, and why not? because wrestling was going through a boom period in the late 90s. There's a little something called the Attitude Era. You may have heard of this. So it was the perfect time for him to like get back on that wrestling tip. And Jakks Pacific made a lot of money selling a lot of figures during this time, and that's a big reason why they were able to leapfrog all the other toy companies, survive while the rest of them were struggling to maintain contemporary in the market, especially in the face of video games. That's like the real reason why a lot of these toy companies were starting to like struggle, because they didn't know how to adapt to that. And so Jakks Pacific had their own sort of approach to that element of the industry, rather than becoming a game developer, rather than going the LJN route and like publishing, rather than doing any of that. They decided to embrace the plug and play market, one of the early companies to do so. In 2002, Jakks began working on their own interactive software with creating their own handheld TV games called Plug It In and Play TV Games. A little wordy. I just go with plug and play, not plug it in and play, but, you know, descriptive title, where the user plugs the device straight into a television. I don't know why I bothered to include that note. I thought it was pretty straightforward from the descriptor, from the title of the product line. As of 2002, the original TV games device from Jakks Pacific sold over 350,000 units. By 2004, it had sold 1 million units. And as of 2007, their Pac-Man TV games unit sold over 15 million units. These were big business. If you ever went to like a Bed Bath & Beyond, or a furniture store, or any other like knick-knack store, you've undoubtedly seen the plug-and-play consoles. Atari sort of has that market cornered now with their like Atari flashback machines and stuff. But Jakks Pacific was the company to get that rolling. So if you know Jakks Pacific for video game output, those are the video games you're probably familiar with, or their plug-and-play stuff. I should mention that in more recent years... go ahead.
They're the ones who made those ones that get passed around for being like suggestive looking, right? Like the Spider-Man ones that were the...
Yes, they had their fingers in a lot of those, because again, they were doing all the licensing deals and stuff, so they were able to get like those major IPs. I think we played a Jakks Pacific wrestling game on the Wretched Wrestling Game stream, if I recall correctly. In more recent years, the company has maintained figure and toy producing relationships. This is a company that's still around today, unlike THQ and Acclaim and LJN. So they have deals with Nintendo and Sega in place. They make figures based on Mario, Sonic, Crash Bandicoot, and Bendy, that Bendy franchise. I don't really know anything about that, but I saw the figures. They look kind of neat. So they're basically the go-to company. If you're a video game company that wants to get into like physical toys and knickknacks, Jakks Pacific is your go-to at this current juncture. Or Funko Pops. So Jakks Pacific, still alive, still thriving today, still held in relatively high regard. Unfortunately, Jack Friedman has not been here for the past 14 years to see it continuing to flourish and succeed. In April 2010, he retired as CEO, accepted the position of Chairman Emeritus to spend more time with his family. His personal friend Stefan Berman succeeded him as CEO of the company. Unfortunately, within a month of that retirement, he'd be hospitalized owing to complications from a rare blood disorder and would die on May 3rd, 2010 at the age of 70. A press statement issued by Jakks Pacific paints Friedman as an industry pioneer. I'm going to quote a little bit from it, and I'm going to link to it here. Jack Friedman founded Jakks Pacific in January 1995, and he served as its chairman and chief executive officer through March 31st, 2010. Under his leadership, Jakks has grown into a top 5 U.S. publicly traded diversified toy company. Before Jakks, he led LJN Toys until its sale to MCA in 1985, and then went on to form THQ Inc. in 1989 and led that until 1995. With more than 50 years of toy industry experience, Mr. Friedman launched some of the most successful toys in history, including the first movie toys for E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and was also a pioneer in the video game industry. Jakks Pacific co-founder and CEO, Stefan Berman, also has a quote in this obituary, in this press statement. Jack was a legendary toy maker and a real titan in our industry. He dedicated his talents to Jakks Pacific for 15 years, and he will be sorely missed. On behalf of all Jakks employees, we send our sincere condolences to his wife Karen and his children for their loss. In 2009, Jakks Pacific was recognized by the Los Angeles Business Journal as one of the top 20 corporate philanthropists in Los Angeles, and as a power player philanthropist in the Toy Industry Foundation. Under the program, the company has donated over $40 million worth of toys and school supplies to children around the world as of 2010. I wanted to mention that because they've obviously gone on to continue that program, have probably donated far more in recent years, but that was something that apparently Jack Friedman was very passionate about. he was insistent that they have a philanthropic wing. And you can say, and probably rightly so to some extent, that it was for tax write-off purposes. It always is with, millionaires, billionaires, people of that nature. But, at least it's better than just, like, sending that money to a secret account or whatever. At least it's doing something with it rather than just hiding it, as so many of them tend to do. In 2014, Friedman was posthumously inducted into the Toy Industry Hall of Fame, who put together a loving video tribute to the man. You get the impression from watching this video, which I'm going to link here. We're not going to play it on stream because I'm sure it's a hell of copyright stuff, but you get the impression that folk genuinely seem to like and respect Jack Friedman, acknowledging his role as an innovator, a master negotiator, especially when it came to like celebrities and brand deals, and his ability to predict successes in the market, which was, definitely a strength that I can easily see that, he predicted the video game thing, like not predicted video games as they existed, but like he recognized the opportunity for licensed video games to be a thing that would succeed and thrive in the market. He called winners. He knew that E.T., before anyone else did, that it would be like a hugely successful movie. He took these gambles and they paid off. He ran 3 companies, and 3 companies that have had like some amount of longevity and some amount of impact in the industries they exist in. And, it's hard for me to sit here and celebrate like a millionaire and a businessman, but, you got to appreciate the dude's confidence. You got to appreciate that, he was respected by his peers. People could just like, I couldn't find a negative story about the dude, right? I couldn't find any stories of him like embezzling money, doing things that, executives tend to do. But I couldn't find anyone saying like, oh, he's ruthless. He was brutal. He just seemed to be a dude that was like a master negotiator that people like to deal with. Clearly his deal with the WWF, the long-running deals, and the fact he was able to re-spark that deal 3 times over across 3 different companies. Like, clearly the Titan Sports, clearly Vince, clearly the WWF enjoyed working with the dude. Clearly he was easy to work with, and he gave, like, favorable terms. So, credit to where credit is due. He was good at what he did. And that is the end of the LJN story, as far as I'm concerned. It is Jack Friedman's company, or was when it first started. And so it ends with him. So it's only fair the story ends with Jack Friedman. And I'm now realizing what the next slide is, and how this might be perceived as in bad taste. It wasn't meant to be. Clearly this is an homage to Shadow Man's Second Coming, is what I was really going for here. Give me some music. This is where I'm going to give some final reflection on LJN. Its reputation as the laughin', jokin' numbnuts, as the rainbow of shit. Now we've played every game. Is that necessarily well-earned? Like, yeah, they had more misses than hits, but also they were kind of one of the most important software labels of the 8-bit era. Like, for sure. They were very much closely tied in, interwoven with the NES, for one thing. Maybe less so the SNES, but definitely to an extent the Game Boy as well. They were innovators in the licensed space when they first came out. The original incarnation of LJN, which granted only lasted for those 3 years, they gave a shape and a form to a nascent subgenre in the licensed game. We had licensed games on the 2600, the VCS. None of them were particularly good. E.T. being the obvious example, even though E.T. was actually secretly one of the most innovative one of those, actually one of the best licensed movie tie-in games for the 26. That's a whole other subject. That's a whole other video. As far as the NES was concerned, LJN were the people who moved licensed games forward, who determined that they shouldn't just be aping other games, trying to recreate like versions of Pac-Man ad infinitum, that they needed to try and tie the contents of the game, of the movie, like the plots and themes of the movies, into the product, into the game. No one else had thought to do that before, really. They were the first. And they gave a lot of shape and form to that, and they established a precedent that, for better or for worse, for movie to video game tie-ins, that would persist for years to come. They were, in their early days, a company willing to give shots to companies like Atlas and Rare, to development studios that, to that point, were not yet established, but would go on to become huge. So they were able to either like scope out the talent or provide opportunities that they weren't otherwise afforded. So you have to give them some amount of credit for being willing to work across the board with so many different developers, willing to give these people a shot. And then moving into the Acclaim era, obviously, you know, the operation changes, but they persist in the practice of contracting to these different studios, giving them different shots, figuring out who their favorite studios to work for are, and continue to get them work until eventually, like, acquiring them outright in the case of the Acclaim studio thing. And maybe that didn't end so well for Sculptured Software, for example, but it was an idea on their part. And, you know, as a label operating under Acclaim, the games that were published under the LJN banner when they were owned by Acclaim, they kept Acclaim in business. For better or for worse, again. They allowed Acclaim to take risks. By having this sub-label, they could release their licensed games under by being able to delineate these games in some sort of way. And, you know, same thing with like Arena Software, which was like their Sega version of LJN for a while. It gave the company flexibility. It gave them the opportunity to pursue original IPs, to try and push stuff through on the Acclaim branding. You wouldn't have a Turok Dinosaur Hunter. You wouldn't have them attempting to produce that game for the N64, the original one, if not for the fact they were able to like probably back that play with money made off of their licensed games, published as part of LJN. So yeah, the reputation, the quality of some of these products has been variable, to say the least. Jeezy Louise in my throat. It's been going on for a while tonight, Sharky. I don't know if you noticed or not. I don't know if you've been here for it.
I don't know, maybe you should get some honey sticks.
Maybe. But I just wanted to say on this screen, I guess as a last note before we go to the rankings, that this series has made me think more critically about LJN. I've never been one to just be like, you know, oh, this entire publisher sucks. I never bought into the myth that LJN was like this rainbow of shit or laughing, joking, numbness or whatever the AVGN perpetuated. I always knew they were a publisher first and a developer second or third or fourth. They were only developers for very brief periods in time. They did not make these games. They just contracted them. But even still, I still had my own misconceptions. I still bought into some of the narrative around them. I still, as much as anyone, believe that, you know, it was generally a label reserved for some of the worst games on the market at the time, that they were doing this stuff always on the cheap constantly, relatively unambitious with their games. And if there's one thing you can say, if there's one thing I can say at the end of this, having played all the LJN games now, ambition, it was there, to be sure. You can fault them for a lot of shit. You can fault them for a lack of quality control, about the licenses they chose to pursue and the way they chose to pursue them, but they tried with every one of their games to accomplish something. And, you know, that's credit to the studios they contracted to a major extent, to be sure. That, you know, it falls on the developers that they hired, the people who were actually making the games, but I'm sure some imperative, some guidelines came down from LJN. But what I'm trying to get to here is that they enabled a culture of, like, taking these movie tie-in games and doing something with them that other studios weren't doing at the time that were securing these licenses. Whereas most stuff that was coming out at this time was very straightforward genre fare, LJN would at least seem to have this insistence that games try to push some sort of mechanic forward, try to do something to stand out from the rest, try to tie in the themes or character quirks into the gameplay in some sort of natural, intuitive way. And I think that's commendable, honestly. It didn't always work. We're going to look at that ranking list and see a number of games lying at the bottom that were too ambitious for their own good. But
I see a number of games in the middle that were too ambitious
for their own good. But, you know, at the end of the day, I would rather look at an interesting failure than a fucking boring failure. Mm-hmm. At least for the fact that they were trying shit, that they had ambitions beyond just making the money. I mean, that was always their bottom line, of course, but that they could have just phoned this shit in. I don't think they ever phoned it in. I don't think any of these LJN games were just, like, you know, done overnight. Done, like, you know, as quickly and cheaply as possible. I'm sure they were done quickly. I'm sure they were done cheaply. But there was at least some room for expression in most of the games we played tonight. So I would just rather that, you know, rather than looking at LJN as these laughing, joking dumb nuts, the rainbow shit, all this stuff that the AVGN really put out into the popular culture, and all the narrative that has existed since the late 90s and early 2000s. Because, don't get me wrong, the AVGN wasn't the first person to make fun of LJN. We saw in that interview with the Acclaim CEO, with Greg, that, you know, they already had their reputation well established and firmly entrenched in 1998, that people were already cognizant of their reputation, of Acclaim and LJN's reputation. But I think as far as the LJN label is concerned, I can at least look back on it now, having said and being able to say that I've now played every LJN game, at least in some capacity, that I can look back on it with some degree of like, okay, this isn't the worst. None of these games are the worst I've ever played. A lot of them, most of them don't enter the conversation.
Pictionary?
Realistically, it's not the worst game I've ever played. It's bad. I really hated it, and I really had a visceral negative reaction to it. But at least, again, it was trying something.
It was.
So, credit where credit is due on that count. But we're not done yet. Not completely, anyway. There's still one last bit of business to attend to here before we say the long goodnight to the LJN Connection. Before my throat gives out on me completely, too. Let's get to the rankings and put these last few games on the list. You may notice I updated the list a little bit to include the developer names under the games. I wanted to sort of keep an eye on which developers routinely appear near the top and which ones routinely appear near the bottom. So we're going to take a quick look at that after we place these last few games. Starting with Spider-Man.
Okay. I'm going to leave that to you because you did the entirety of that one.
Sure. I'm looking at other superhero games here.
Okay, let's go towards like kind of like the bottom of our superhero game list, which is Spider-Man, X-Men: Arcade's Revenge.
Talk for a minute. I gotta blow my nose. I'm really congested right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I will phrase this question in a very long way. Then the question that I have to ask you as you blow your nose is: do you think that Arcade's Revenge is worse than just plain old Spider-Man for SNES? Do you think Spider-Man is actually worse than Arcade's Revenge? So Arcade's Revenge was
Arcade's Revenge was completely fucking dire. At least that Spider-Man game, for as mean as it was and cruel as it wasn't wasting your time. The levels were on a straightforward track. They were linear, and that counts for a lot with me. I would rather have those levels be linear in my superhero game than be these bullshit going backwards and forwards and backwards again.
No, that Spider-Man game was pretty cruel.
It wasn't good. It felt clunky. It seemed like it was stripped down on features compared to some of the other Spider-Man games we had played, not being able to crawl up walls or whatever. So I'd rate it lower than, like... where'd I put the Amazing Spider-Man? That's really high for the first Amazing Spider-Man game. I can't believe it shook out that way.
Yeah.
Where's Amazing Spider-Man 2? That was the adventure game one.
That's at 37? 37, I believe.
I think it was better than... At least slightly better than the Amazing Spider-Man 3, though.
Okay.
On Game Boy. But
Do you
maybe
think it was better than Sinister Six?
No. I think it nestles right in between these two, honestly. So here we go, new number 43. What was next on the list of these games?
True Lies for Game Boy.
Yes, the Game Boy version of True Lies.
So, clearly worse than the other one, which was number 9. So, yeah. But it didn't look that bad, though. It looked like it was fairly competent for a Game Boy game, although you thought it was a little too busy in terms of, like, how it looked and how it kind of, like, affected the frame rate.
Yeah.
Well, not even really the frame rate, but, like, just sort of the speed of the game at that point.
It's still, like, effectively a full-fat game, though, for the Game Boy. It is still, like, relatively, very much compromised, but you're getting an experience of the console game.
I would definitely put it... I feel like I would put it above Incredible Crash Dummies.
On the Game Boy?
Yeah. In fact, I might... would I put it above the NBA All-Star Challenge? I'm not sure.
I think the NBA All-Star Challenge games were, like, they're good and replayable. I think those like you could keep in the backseat of your car and
Yeah.
reliably go back to them. I think like you would probably like play through True Lies once or twice and be like, all right, I've gotten all I'm gonna get out of this game.
Okay, I think I would put it above Crash Dummies then.
Yeah, I think
In
that's
my
fair.
mind.
I don't have any issue with that placement. I think that's a fair spot for it. New number 13. Next was NFL Quarterback Club 2, if my memory serves.
All right, that's pretty low.
This is pretty fucking low. What's the
So
lowest
the original
rated?
NFL Quarterback Club was that's
51.
SNES version.
No, this is the Game Boy version at 51.
Yeah,
It was worse than that, though. Even though it
was
had
definitely
football,
worse.
Unlike the first one, which I think was just the minigames. Or maybe there was a football. I can't remember if there was football.
No, there was not. There was not football in the original one for Game Boy.
Well, so despite being more of what people would have wanted, I still think it like looks worse, plays worse. And you know, it's apples and
honestly
oranges, but
It feels more slight.
it's so threadbare.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any of the athlete's name. It doesn't name a single player in the game. So if you're someone who's like, you know, as a lot of kids were back then, were compelled by like, you know, the same way like baseball cards, like, you know, you followed athletes. You like, you know, when you're an adult, you follow a team and you keep it like abreast of the business decisions. But as like a child, you're like, I want to be Mickey Mantle. I want to be Ken Griffey Jr.
Well, okay.
I want to be Brett Favre.
Famous football players.
I'm mixing it up, yes.
But like, to be fair, back then a lot of games didn't get both the Players Association license and the, you know, license for the teams. Like, usually it was one or the other.
Well, that's what's fucked up, though, because Quarterback Club, the first one, and all those NBA All-Star Challenge games were done with the Players Association. We're very player-driven and not team-driven. And so this is a very weird and strange and pained opposite end of it, where they had the teams but not the players in this.
It's just, of all the NFL games we played that were actual football, this kind of felt like I had like the least amount of meaningful input into the game.
Yeah, it's not good. Is it worse than NFL Quarterback Club on Game Boy? Yes. I think the minigame
Yes,
compilation
absolutely.
trumps the actual football game. Is there anything lower than that? And no, that was the lowest football game
Not
we
for
had.
football.
Is it worse than Beetlejuice for NES? Yes. Is it worse than WWF Raw for SNES?
Is it? Like, I would say it's less painful to play, but it felt like it was like on autopilot most of the time. So I felt like I was barely playing a game.
You know what? I'm gonna say it's worse than Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge on Game Boy. Oh, that was fucking wretched. Going into like Super WrestleMania and Raw. And
I would definitely not put it below Back to the Future, Part 2 and 3.
how about right
that's-
under Spider-Man?
Sure.
Arcade's Revenge. NFL Quarterback Club 2.
Okay.
New number 57. Did you have a final? You could sway it maybe one spot.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine because man, I fucking hated Super WrestleMania for SNES.
That's fair. I think I did as well. Cutthroat Island on SNES. This was a curious one because I wanted to like this game.
This, yeah, like every odd number level was like, I see what they're going for. This could be interesting. This is weird, but yeah, this is fine. Every even number leveled was, oh fuck this game.
I like it better than that
even number levels are
Spider-Man game.
hateful.
I'm definitely going above 44 for this.
Let's see.
I would put it above the Wolverine game on NES.
I don't want to go too much higher than that because those even number levels are so bad. Like, imagine if we didn't have rewind.
You could trial and error your way through them. You can memorize them to some extent, which isn't great. It's not ideal. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that it's overcomable.
You could trial and error your way through it, but there are no continues. If you got to like level 4 and fuck that up, like we did, back to the start of the game. I think those like even
You're not
number
wrong.
levels really
By the way, I
tank
agree.
it.
I'm just very contemplative right now about where it goes. Like this matters or anything.
Yeah. If you were to put it above Wolverine, I wouldn't put it much further above Wolverine at all. In fact, I would put it below Quarterback Club for SNES.
Okay. I think that's fine. That's a shame, because I felt like if it just stripped those levels out or made those simpler, made them slower, they could have done something with that. But it's just, flop movie deserves a flop game, I guess. Right?
Well, speaking of movies.
Oh, I forgot to do. We should have done Warlock before Cutthroat
Yeah.
Island. That's my bad. Warlock though. You know, I see
Interesting.
Alien 3 on there. I definitely want to put it above Alien 3 on SNES, even though that game was
Yeah.
very ambitious and this was more straightforward. I think the simplicity in this case, you know, it had ambition in the magic system and like the way you use spells and stuff. So it's something there. It was very moody.
Looked nice.
I put it above the Crash Test Dummies games.
Okay.
I
Sure.
would put it above TNC Surf Design's Wood and Water Rage.
Yeah. That's fine.
And, you know, I want to put it above these sports games, but,
You know what? Actually, I wouldn't. I think if I was being conservative, I think I might put it right below NBA All-Star Challenge.
the SNES one.
Oh wait, never mind. I just realized that's the SNES one.
Yeah, the Game Boy ones are up here. You know, I'm going to say it's better than fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit on the NES.
Okay, okay. I would maybe put it below Roger Clemens MVP Baseball on Game Boy.
But above Terminator 2 Judgment Day on SNES.
I would definitely put it above. Comparing SNES games, I would definitely put it above Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I think this is fair. I think this is a fair spot for it. I think it's our new number 17. Which now leaves us with one last incredibly curious game.
I'll leave the honor of this to you, because you're the one who wrote the article on this. The new number one. No.
It's like a solid 2, right?
As you said.
I would still play it above so many of these games. There's no other racing games on here. Did you notice that, by the way? It's the only racing game that LJN put out.
I mean, this is such a weird thing to try and fit in here, because all of a sudden we're leaping the Dreamcast. Like, it is a real odd duck out amongst this list.
Definitely not... I'm looking at these 30s, and everything in the 30s is worse than Spirit of Speed. Like, this is like... I gotta figure out what the other 2-star game on here would be.
Oh, what is Who Framed Roger Rabbit in your mind, then?
It's 2 stars, like in my... But for the ambition, I'd give it a 3. I'd give it like an honorary 3. Which is how it managed to get so high up here, despite being a game I fucking hate. Okay, I got it.
Alright, what you thinking?
22.
Right below, okay.
Because the NBA All-Star Challenge on SNES wasn't not nearly as good as any of the Game Boy, as either of the Game Boy games. I think there's some merit here. The Spirit of Speed. I think people should read the article. I think people should give the game a shot, if they so choose to. If you are a racing sicko, if you like cars, at least you owe it to yourself to try Spirit of Speed 1937. Even though this is the least LJN game on this list, it still has to make it onto the list, and that's the spot I've chosen for it. Okay.
And that's the list.
That is the list. One last time. We're going to go from top to bottom here. I'm just going to...
several breaths.
Yeah, especially because my throat is, and my nose. I got congested by the end of the stream. It's also killing me here. Okay. From top to bottom, 65 games. Number 1. I'm gonna skip the numbers. Can I skip the numbers? Can I say the game names in order? Okay.
Actually, if you link me to this, I can read it. Give your...
You want to do this? I will happily let you do this. I will happily drink my drink and try to recover something while you read this list.
All right. Okay. So, starting from the top, from number 1, I won't do the numbers either. But, Friday the 13th, The Punisher, Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage, The Punisher, The Ultimate Payback, Gotcha, The Sport, Jaws, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Back to the Future, True Lies, Roger Clemens MVP Baseball on NES, NBA All-Star Challenge 2 on Game Boy, NBA All-Star Challenge first on Game Boy, True Lies on Game Boy, The Incredible Crash Dummies on Game Boy, Beetlejuice on Game Boy, Roger Clemens MVP Baseball on Game Boy, big Game Boy block, Warlock for SNES, T2 Terminator 2 Judgment Day for SNES, The Amazing Spider-Man for Game Boy, Terminator 2 Judgment Day for SNES, Who Framed Roger Rabbit for NES, Spirit of Speed 1937 for the Sega Dreamcast, NBA All-Stars Challenge for SNES, WWF Royal Rumble for SNES, WWF Superstars for Game Boy, WWF Superstars 2 for Game Boy, Roger Clemens MVP Baseball for SNES, Major League Baseball for NES, TNC Surf Designs Wood and Water Rage for NES, The Incredible Crash Dummies for NES, The Incredible Crash Dummies for SNES, Alien 3 for SNES, Alien 3 for Game Boy, Bill and Ted's Excellent Game Boy Adventure for, you can probably guess what it was, WWF WrestleMania Challenge for NES, NFL for NES, NFL Quarterback Club for SNES, Cutthroat Island for SNES, Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure for NES, Wolverine for NES, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for Game Boy, Alien 3 for NES, T2 the arcade game for Game Boy, WWF King of the Ring for NES, WWF WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge for NES, Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six for NES, Spider-Man for SNES, The Amazing Spider-Man 3 Invasion of the Spider Slayers for Game Boy, WWF King of the Ring for Game Boy, Wolverine Adamantium Rage SNES, Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge SNES, The Karate Kid for NES, T2 the arcade game for SNES, NFL Quarterback Club for Game Boy, TNC Surf Design 2 Thriller Safari for NES, Terminator 2 Judgment Day for Game Boy, Beetlejuice for NES, WWF Raw for SNES, Spider-Man X-Men Arcade's Revenge for Game Boy, NFL Quarterback Club 2 for Game Boy, WWF Super WrestleMania for SNES, WWF Raw for Game Boy, Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3 for NES, The Uncanny X-Men for NES, and at number 65, the worst LJN game. Nothing came close to dethroning it. Pictionary, the game of video quick draw for NES.
Thank you, Sharky. And let's look here. Software Creations responsible for that last game.
Yes.
Also responsible for number 58, number 51. Let me. In fact, if I search Software Creations, we can see it highlighted here.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom, middle. Closer to the top. They actually had one that was really good. So very variable. They wide swings with Software Creations. You were either getting something good, middling, or bad, or the dirt worst.
Yeah, the highest they got was actually number 3, Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage.
Which is surprising to see.
Yeah.
What is less surprising to see is Atlas's game near the top. And then a few that are scattered throughout, including Karate Kid. So again, variable output, but the fact that it would nab the number 1 spots is, an interesting point to make. But if there is an MVP on this list, in terms of how prolific their output was and how much of it trends towards the top, it is Beam Software. Beam Software absolutely owns the top half of the list. They had a couple stinkers in NFL Quarterback Club, the original, and in Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 on the NES, which is an all-time bad game. But they have so many spots at the top of the list. They had some of the most consistent output. And I know people don't like the Back to the Future NES game, so people may feel weird about that being so high up on the list. But they gave us True Lies. They gave us both the Punisher games, which were both fucking incredible. They put in work. I know we covered Beam Software in our Bad Street Brawler episode as well, and gave them some of their due credits, and maybe a little critical, but like seeing them on this list, they were champion material as far as their relationship with LJN was concerned. Let's look at Sculptured Software. That's the one I'm curious about because they're one of the ones that obviously got acquired by Acclaim after the fact. They scrape by in the top 10 with Roger Clemens' MVP Baseball, and then a lot of middle of the pack, and then a few towards the end here, which sounds about right. I'm sure that they were hired to Acclaim because they were reliable rather than like top quality products. They were probably like, they turned games around on time and under budget. It is probably the qualities that most appealed to Acclaim and considering like grabbing them, nabbing them. How many rare games were there? There were 7.
A ton.
There were 7 of them. Nightmare on Elm Street, which made the top 10 for me. Beetlejuice on Game Boy. They also did the NES version, which was rated very low, even though it was ambitious. So you can see, like, this is like a very nascent, this is a very young Rare. Before they're the rareware, before they're the Rare that we come to know and love. So you can see that, you know, these early days with LJN were like them cutting their teeth. Were them figuring out a lot of stuff. I'm granted they were also like, you know, big in the microcomputer scene, the British microcomputer scene. So some of this output, though, was some of their first console and portable output. So it was good for them to get this experience early on, to maybe work out some of the growing pains before they became the powerhouse they became. So, you know, it's fun to see them on this list. And Iguana Entertainment, this is the only game they actually had on this list, was this one NFL Quarterback Club version for SNES. But they would go on to become, I think, the most synonymous with Acclaim in my mind. When I think Acclaim, I think Iguana Entertainment, because I think Turok. You know, and I think of that Iguana title card playing before the game. So those two are just linked with each other in my mind. So it's weird to see them only appear once on this. And what about B.I.T.S? I think B.I.T.S was one of the most prolific outputters. No, there are only 7 games from B.I.T.S. But they stood out. These T2 games, these Alien games, a couple Spider-Mans. Definitely trended lower on the list. But curious nonetheless. And there's a few others, obviously, sporadically here. The Senritsu Denki, I think, had a grand total of 2 games. Escape, their only one contribution being Jaws. Yeah, I think, though, I think it's just good to like establish who the best and who the worst was here. Who the best partner of LJN was in this time. I think that would clearly be Beam Software. And I think the least reliable, by some measure, would probably be, like, would probably have to go to, like, Sculptured. I mean, they were reliable since they turned products around on time, but they never really batted particularly well, except for, like, Spider-Man and Venom. And I guess Roger Clemens.
Well, Spider-Man and Venom was Software Creations, and Sculpted Software is a different one.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. Yeah, Sculpture sucks then. Yeah, they only barely scraped by into the top 10. Yeah, so
but even still, like with our like top choices, with Atlas, Beam, and Software Creations, you know, they still made some of the worst games on the list too. So it was always kind of like,
it's always a crapshoot for all these developers that work with LJN. I mean, the quality of game you made depended on the license you were getting, how creative you could get with it, how much budget you had in terms of time and money. You know, so that was always going to govern it. But, you know, quality developers rise to the challenge. And I think Atlas did a good job proving themselves here. Beam Software were already industry veterans, and they made the most out of what they were given in any given situation. And everyone else I
would say our worst performer then was Bothtech and or Pixel, with 1 game on the list, that being The Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, I guess if you want to like say like a singular bad game.
Just by the numbers alone, they had a 0% hit rate.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So there you go. Bothtech is the worst, or whoever actually developed that game. It's unclear which of the 2 studios. There's some contention around that. Hence why I have the and or there. But that's it. That's the list. That's the end. We're finished.
Yay.
That is the end of the LJN Connection. That is the 9th and final episode. That is every LJN game played, ranked, the history gone through in some amount of detail. Hot damn. 4 months to finish this, Sharky. But I think it was time well spent. I think it was worth it. I think it was interesting. I learned stuff from this. I have a new perspective on some of this stuff, and I hope that our viewers at home do too. How do you feel about the tail end, at the end of this series, looking back on it now? What's your takeaway?
I got to play Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage twice in one night. That's pretty cool. No, it did give me like I haven't played a lot of LJN games. I just kind of known about them through reputation, because I was a angry video game nerd watcher. And it was interesting to go to some of the games that are considered like notably horrible, like Back to the Future, the first one, and kind of have to like weigh in on them in terms of this ranking and be like, that wasn't bad. That wasn't really that bad at all. And like kind of take a closer look at some stuff that is like the Friday the 13th, actually, especially for that one.
Yeah, which I've always stood behind that game, and
it's been interesting to go back to these like historically shat upon games. That's the fanciest way I could put it. And
technical term.
And really like kind of dig down into it and really examine it and go like, this is not that bad. This is pretty good, actually. Like I can see why someone would call it bad, but
on a scale, on a list, compared to other products in similar category, and seeing which ones actually do kind of like rise above that. Yeah.
So it's been very interesting to go at this with like a real critical eye, and not just kind of go based off of reputation.
And that's always what we'll strive to do here on the Bad Game Hall of Fame. That's always, going to be our mission statement, to the extent that, we're going to take a look at these games that people have historically shit on, companies that have been historically shit on, and we'd like to, as much as possible, like give them a real, their due process, as I think the tagline for the site has invoked for a while now, giving bad games their due process since 2016. This is a series I only could have done in streaming, I want to say. I would not have been able to write about every single one of these fucking games. I would have never gotten through it if I had to write full write-ups for each and every one of these games, if I was just doing the writing gimmick still. So I really love this format for being able to explore these things, to be able to see reactions to this stuff in real time. And I want to say, also, that having the audience, and having you, Charky, of course, to bounce off of, to make it entertaining, and to have the audience there along for the ride, and to have the chat react in real time with us, to know that like we're reaching people like immediately directly with this stuff. The audience was along for this ride as much as we were. This has been nearly 27 hours of stream just for this LJN Connection show. This is like nearly 30 hours. Let's round it up, why don't we? We may have been here hosting, playing the games, but those of you who are tuned into this right now, in this moment, as we sit here at 11:27 Eastern Standard Time, for the viewers in chat chatting away right now, who have stuck with us through 9 episodes of this, who have stuck with us through all of our streams, you were as much along for this journey as we were, and I gotta give respect to that. I appreciate so much that people turn up for these things, that they tune in for all our shows, but especially for long-form content like this, making something like this possible, giving us the confidence, the feedback to want to go on with this is invaluable. Moving the streaming has been a challenge, to be sure, but ultimately, at the end of all things here, getting to reflect on this series we just completed and feeling so pleased with it is a great feeling. And I just wanted to share that with the audience. I want everyone to know that like this has been awesome. We're going to continue to do stuff like this. I don't mean to phrase this like we're doing like this is the end of something. It's just the end of this series. We're going to continue with more series like this. I want the viewers, I want our patrons to help us decide the next long form series. I want to poll people, not just like with a poll of options. I want to talk to people in the Discord. Please send them with a link to the Discord.
Sure.
If you are a Patreon pledger or Twitch subscriber, I'm not going to take very long on this plug. If you financially support us, you gain access to that Patreon Saints channel on the Discord server. You can have a say in stuff. But even beyond that, for what we want to do here, I am going to open up to anyone who's just in the Discord community. At some point, we're going to put up something to help determine what the next long-form series is going to be, and I absolutely want people to have a say in that. If you can't financially support us, that's completely fine and understandable. If you want to help the channel in some sort of way, what I really recommend. This is where we usually plug the suggested viewing playlist on YouTube that has like some hand-picked videos that we think are very emblematic of the channel.
We're still doing that right this moment by mentioning that.
I suppose so in some sense of the word. But what I really want to say is, if you know someone who has been misinformed, let's say, or who's bought into revisionist history, narratives around LJN, who still parrots lines like, laughing, joking, numbnuts in the year of our Lord 2024, consider being like, hey, I just sat through 27 hours of these two goofballs playing through every LJN game, and you know what? They come to some different conclusions. You'll learn some history. You'll learn which games are actually stand out from the rest. You'll learn about ambition. You'll learn about like how the industry works if you watch this series.
You'll learn about energy drinks.
You'll learn about so many energy drinks, so many snacks. I really appreciate just people putting out the playlist for this. It's starting from the first episode. If people want to commit to 27 hours, I don't know how many people will, realistically, but I would like to
laundry to fold
for days. Because I'm really proud of this series. I'm really proud of what we accomplished here. I'm saying accomplished, like we did anything more than just play and talk about video games. But I feel good about this. I feel accomplished. As insignificant as all of this is, as ultimately like inconsequential as a YouTube series covering video games can be, I feel good about this. I like this fucking show. I like doing the Bad Game Hall of Fame. We are the Bad Game Hall of Fame, me and Sharky, but you, the audience, you are as much a part of this. You are the connoisseurs of content. You have chosen to stick with us to see a series like this through the conclusion, and so I tip my cowboy hat to you. And thank you again for sticking with us, for being a part of this, coming along on this ride. I'm sure I'm repeating myself by this point, but it's just because I'm not good at this. At the part of the show where I have to thank people and be genuine, or I have to lift the veil for a minute here. But, shit, man. That was LJN. And that'll do it for us tonight.
Bring it back. Bring LJN back.
Now more than ever, we need an LJN. 2 seconds while I look at... Los Angeles Gaming is what Macaw45 is currently streaming. Sure, I don't know what that entails, but Macaw is good people. You'll let us know what they streamed, I'm sure. We'll check there. We'll actually check.
True Crime, Streets of LA, and LA Machine Gun.
Those are the games.
And yeah,
those are the LA games. But yeah, we'll raid them in just a minute. That's all, folks. That's all for the LJN Connection. We'll be back all of our days this week for our regular streams. What they are, you'll have to tune in and find out. No, we're still doing Blue Stinger on Thursdays. Tuesday, we don't know yet. And Saturday, I do have something in the works. It's going to be an interesting theme night, to be sure. So please to tune in for that. And then it'll be some time before we start our next long-term series, I think. I think we will need a minute between, talking to the audience about it, talking to you guys, figuring out what you want to see. There's also going to be a period of prepping and planning and stuff, so all things in due time. But for now, I have been the Leprechaun at the End of the Rainbow, Cassidy.
And I've been Spider Sharky.
Thank you one last time. Thank you one last time. 2 more times, thank you for everyone for tuning in with us, for sticking with us, for seeing to the end of this rainbow. Was there a pot of gold at the end? I think so. Is that sappy? Is that too sappy? It's probably too sappy. Whatever.
Why don't you yell goodbye at them instead?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll do just that. Bye!
Good night, everybody.